Hello everyone, it's so good to be with every one of you. I miss every one of you, and yes, we've been so busy, and I've moved a couple of times around my house and been a lot of work going on in a lot of areas, but it's a pleasure to spend time with every one of you. I want you to all know that I'm always with you guys. I'm right here. Just picture me and I'm right here with you. So you just keep going down your journeys. I'm so proud of every one of you guys. Great questions here. We're going to cover some of them here. So really, you've done well. Everything isn't perfect under the sun in that way. I mean, you could say that from a spiritual viewpoint and be appropriate, but obviously you have these two forces battling, and obviously, things can be up and down. So some of you are working real hard for your health issues. Just because one has to work hard, don't give up, and don't think things don't work, because they do work. I think the most important thing is to know when you need to hold them and when to fold them. And there, we're just talking to Jennifer about that with the cancer case there. And this young girl is really good. She knows when to hold them, when to fold them. She's tearing it up. I'm just so proud of you guys. You're finding the door, and that's a big deal on this planet. And so I'm really hoping that that everybody's good and going out there. We've had several people ask about international orders. We don't put international orders on our website, but there is a big thing that says call for international orders, and the reason is having a shopping cart is somewhat difficult in overseas because it's so complicated. Each country, and then we do help people with different countries. So there's a lot that we have to do to meet customs and all the things that we do to get you the herbs. So we have to route it through the pharmacy here because it's just too hard to get it to you any other way. We ship every day to Australia. Some of the most difficult countries are those that, like I said, that signed on to Codex. And that's going to be Germany, Sweden, even Israel. You guys in Israel. Now, we're supposed to be buddies with Israel, right? Then how come Israel won't let our herbs in the country? That's a problem. And I think that needs to be rectified, because if Israel and America are best buddies, then there shouldn't be any reason why we can't get these great herbs in Israel and heal up a bunch of you guys over there and get everybody healthy. That's the goal. We can't get into Iraq. We can't get into Afghanistan. We can't get into Libya. There are several countries we just can't get into. Sad about Germany and Sweden, but we can get in most countries, and a lot of people find their ways to get them in. So, kind of sad we can't open up things and get things moving, but that's just life in the fast lane. So do your very best, and we'll help you get the herbs to you if we can. If we can't, then I'll try to help you with herbs that grow in your country, and we'll try to help you get some formulas up. You know that what we're looking for, the kidneys, the lymph, the GI tract, so you can kind of get a good idea. Best idea is to get a herb book or 2 or 3 and start looking at the herbs I'm using, and you'll see why I'm using it when you study the use of them. And study about 4, 5, 6 books. You want to get used to having about 6 herb books that you trust, that the person is not a copycat herbalist, that you feel like they're getting into the explanation and the uses of them pretty good for you, and just kind of get 6 good books. Now there's all levels of herb books. For those that I have in here, many of them are $300, $400, $500 books. You don't need to buy those kind of books. They're and a lot of them throwing out opinions and all these active principles. And the problem with it, we have to separate what we witness in and isolate as opposed into a whole compound. We just have to understand the differences. And I'm sure pharmaceutical companies definitely use that to try to deter people about herbs, knowing all the while that they're the ones most guilty of isolates and killing people from isolates. Never a good way to say it. But anyway, it's so good to be with every one of you. Here's a group hug, okay? Group hug with all of us, all right? You Facebook people are kicking up. You guys are tearing it up. Now, let's get to some questions, because there's some really good questions here this morning. Some people hurting out there, so we need to get that. Our problem is getting it up fast enough, so I'm kind of on Drew's case. Get these up faster. We were short-handed 2 people, and that just took us really. James has been off for 3 weeks. He's involved in shipping and getting it to you, and we just been backed up. So poor Chris is having to set this kind of aside while he's doing this, and I'm trying to get it all up. So we'll see. I think you got about a 3-hour one there coming up. It should be up now. I just did one yesterday on eyes. I want that up to date, Drew, and then this one, and this one I hope he gets up over the weekend for you. I apologize, that sort of thing. But now this was a question that was interesting to me, and the question was about neurofibromatosis, and they sent a nice picture along, and you kind of get the idea of form of like leprosy. This is this person's back. So, immediately, you know what system this person's fighting, don't you? These aren't blood blisters, are they? No, they're like little tumors. This is all a person's lymphatic system. I'm sure they're full of virals and the lymph and everything else. So, what would you do with someone with this? Is this a curable situation, you think? You think there's any situation uncurable? If you think that, then I suggest that you get involved in healing people and prove yourself wrong. Because I don't see anything that's incurable. I see something like this, it might take this person a couple of years to conquer, but conquer they can. And I've always wanted some of the worst cases of leprosy to show you what we can do with that. But I can tell you that these will all go down and some fall off, and you'll see a whole thing. This is totally want to get into the body the way we were discussed. Kidneys, adrenals, we want to get into the bowels, clean up the bowels, and at the same time hunk on the lymph system and just clean this person up. Get the adrenals up, go in that way. And you'll find an interesting thing happen with this person. So you know immediately it's the lymphatic system. This is a common thing you see around. It might be, I haven't heard of this one, but it's common to see people with the small tumors and viral patches, if you will, covered. So I feel very curable. Haven't had a case, but you know what, you can tell it's lymph. And that's a nice thing when you understand the gig, when you understand the body a little bit, and a little bit different than the way all the past look, you start to realize why they're not successful and why we're successful. And so then you understand that what's not curable by them becomes very curable by us. Literally nothing's curable by allopathy, but realistically not against them. There's not supposed to be. They're the ones that build this ego and chest up and tear everybody down. That's going to get them in trouble, and it has get them in trouble. You know, they're not well liked by people because of their narcissistic attitude. With that said, there's some great medical doctors out there trying hard. And I believe that. It's hard when you carry a certain level of thinking and suddenly you realize you spent years of your life and it was wrong thinking. It's not pleasant. It would be pleasant for me spending all that money and realizing that, whoops. But anyway, I would take off after this one, big time detoxification. That's why I love detoxification. It really can answer for everything in the sense because most of our problems stem from the lymph system. You really, when you look at this real close, there's not too many true blood problems. I'm amazed at the way we eat. Now, this is from Betty. I first would like to say how much I appreciate. Well, thank you there, Betty. I appreciate all that. I've been watching your channel for a little over a year. Thanks, honey. I've done a couple of grape fasts, lemon juice fasts, and even a couple of days of water fast. Now here's a lady that is taking it on. She's wearing the robe. Really good, Betty. Good job. I've seen improvements in my eczema where I was out of pain, but because of that, I became too complacent with the diet. I started to eat things like pizza and ice cream despite being a vegetarian. Well, you see what I mean? I do not blame you for that or anyone else because we've all done that. We've all said, oh. You know, and it's just life on the fast lane. No one is bad or worse or better from doing any of these things. It's just the human nature. And remember, this mind is a conditioned instrument. And it's well conditioned by our societies. Oh, the sooner the better. We can get those little things in there. The computer. I mean, they pay big money to get us to brainwash this mind of ours. So it does take a while to work out of that, even with raw. Even though we know intellectually, we know truth, we know all this, that the fruits and the berries and the melons are the top. We even experience that. Listen to the cases here. Still, we have to find that balance of emotion and mindset. And as we move and we spiritually grow and we conquer the weaknesses, we gain the strengths. And the best way to gain strength right off from emotional weakness and mental weakness is separate yourself from those bodies. Quit identifying yourself with your emotions and with your thought processes. These are things you do, not things you are. And it makes a big difference. And then start working on the health of these different endocrine glands and things like this, which reach into your mental body and your emotional bodies, and it'll in turn make them healthy. You might have some karma or some things coming off, like detox emotionally and things like this. When you can just sit there and cry, you're removing emotions that you have pinned up. If you listen and watch, you might see pictures tied to that. And that would be why you're cleaning emotionally out. In the past couple of months, I've had a relapse in my health, and it feels as though I just as bad as before. Now, let me tell you this. When you do these fasts and you do these things, you want to keep going, keep going, keep going. Sweetheart, put yourself right back what you know to be true. You already witnessed the improvement. You know what it takes. Get yourself back on that train again and move down this line. But this time, Betty, push yourself so all of your skin problems are gone, way past gone, and then go out and have a pizza or have whatever you want. And make sure you don't feel bad. When you can go out and eat bad and you don't feel bad, except for the kick you're going to get from eating pure and bad, but your symptoms don't come back in that way. There's a difference between feeling sick from the crappy food and two, your symptoms coming back. Symptoms will always come back if you don't take it all the way. Take it all the way and then some. And then you can eat bad or whatever you want to do, and you won't get those back anymore because you cured the problem. So, Betty, you got to get back and clean yourself out. You only did a little bit, and suddenly you realize that you didn't get it all. And that's all this is, honey. We all do this. Don't feel bad. I've been eating fruits, berries, and melons for the past month and a half, in addition to taking some mixed herbs that I bought at a local store. Every couple of weeks I've had to eat a cooked meal because I was in a lot of pain. Well, this is another thing. Raw and pain. Raw doesn't always get rid of pain, especially in chronic arthritises, and fruit sometimes can exacerbate pain in chronic arthritises because of some of the acid principles in fruits. It's not that they're hurting you more, but they are drawing in astringent. And you start pulling on these highly chronic acidic areas, you're going to open up some pain things. Common stuff, but sometimes people have to go a little slower, stay with vegetable matter with a little cooked, and then move more into more raw and more into more raw, and then drop off the salads and going into the fruits. That sort of journey, going down that slower. I can't tell if it's because I'm highly lymphatically congested. Well, when you have eczema on the skin, you're highly lymphatically congested. Or if I'm detoxing. For the most part, my eczema, which was usually localized around my wrists, has spread over my forearms and in the creases of my arms. Lymph. You're just backed up. Get your kidneys going, honey. Make sure you're filtering fine. Get your adrenals to get the kidneys up. Clean out the bowels. Do the GI broom. Clean out those bowels and move those lymphs, dear. And get it to where this all clean. Well, it just shows you that even though you saw eczema around the wrists, the lymph system is a systemic problem. We talked about this on this last video yesterday, I think, or the one before that. The fact that your symptoms can come back even on all raw and detoxifying. It's a normal process. Matter of fact, study detoxification and you'll find that the same symptom will come back, or old injuries you had years ago will come back on you if they never healed properly. If they healed properly, you'll never feel a thing. You only feel your weaknesses. How cool is that? I mean, that just is more proof and more evidence and more knowledge in relationship to what we're doing to help us. Because medical doctors freak with anything. And what they don't understand is this tremendous process of cleaning and restoring the cells to their original state of wellness and beyond. Because they're looking at a genetic bodies here, and they, remember, we've been talking about the decline in health of a cell in the Homo sapien, and you're seeing it in animals. You're starting to see the mutation side of animals now. And we just have to respect the cell a lot more than we're doing in a totally different way. So you're going to see, you can literally see a rash head to toe, Betty. I mean, it's possible, it does happen. And the small patches I'd usually got over my upper lip and chin has spread all the way over my head. You got to dig in and move your lymph. I suggest you get the GI broom, clean up your bowels. Might clean the liver a little bit while you're doing it, Betty. Really get going. Get your train going down the track. Everybody with you. All your diet, everything going down this road. So then you'll be totally successful. You'll be cleaned out and you're done. So get back on your train like you're doing, your fruits, berries, and melons. Don't worry what you see. Get the herbs. You want herbs for kidneys. See, and it's another thing. And it could happen to Betty this way, and this is why I love the herbs and not, but when you start this going, and you're just playing around with a few herbs, it's not real focused, some of these things can happen. You can bring things up and everything's starting, and then suddenly you got off, and then you've started moving your lymph, and everybody's going, whoa, what's going on? And then the food comes in, it's bad, and then bam. So as you start pulling lymph, if you stop it, yeah, you can start seeing problems everywhere because you're pulling lymph. No. Just get back on that train, sweetheart, and get moving right down that road again, and you'll be good. And you'll clean all this out, but you want to clean all this out. And once you do, then you'll never have a problem no matter how bad you eat, unless you go totally back to the milks and everything. And it'll take you a lot of years, but then it'll start coming again because you did it. But head on down that road. Now I have lymph leaking out from the cracks of my eczema around my neck, which occurs overnight. See what I'm saying? You're one limped up puppy, honey. Your body's ready to split open and ooze pus. Good work. I'm afraid to use sea salt or bicarbonate because it even hurts when water is applied to the areas. Well, when you bring the salt, the water is generally acidic by nature. So by bringing some salt into that mix, good sodium chloride, at least I'd probably go bicarbonate first because it's not going to have that salt thing. So I would probably do sodium and bicarbonate, aluminum free of course, and probably do a bicarbonate bath a little bit there. But salt water, when people have psoriasis, I take them down to the ocean and throw them in. Makes a huge difference on the skin. But remember, this isn't a topical problem, honey. This is an internal problem that you have to address with adrenals, kidneys, and bowels. Clean the liver, too. And thank you, too. This is the same thing on the neurofibromatosis. It's a genetically inherited disorder. Give me a friggin' break. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what is inherent? There's only one thing that you see inherent, isn't it? And what would we call that? Cells. It's only a sperm and an egg, and now you got a cell, a big old mama cell. And what happens to that cell? It splits open, becomes the embryo, and then the fetus, right? It's all about the cell. That isn't a cell problem, that's a lymphatic problem. However, a cell problem can make a lymphatic problem, right? Why? Adrenals are cells, kidneys are cells, bowels are cells. Absolutely. Now, this one was sent to me, this was sent to Matt actually. I don't know, they gave this to me. This is from Ron, and this is PN Immune Support. And they asked me about it. Now, supposedly this formula, I've heard this crap before, boosts your macrophages and your T cells here, your helper and your killer cells. I've heard that before. That's a thymus gland and bone marrow issue, and this is just tea tree oil. Or what is it? tea tree. Now, this supposedly cracks, breaks down the outer shell of a viral, which is a protein. So I don't know, you know, virals aren't like bacteria, so you got to remember that. Virals aren't animals. Breaks down bacteria. So here it is, no side effects. It's 4,900% more antioxidants than fish oil. Well, no crap. Your antioxidants are in fruits, berries, and melons. Immune cell boosting properties. What is the immune system anyway? And antiviral properties, antibacterial, antifungal, anti-mold, anti-inflammatory, blah, 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 blah. The problem is, what man's done wrong is kill the bacteria in his body, isn't it? You don't kill your helpers. This is the problem. Same kind of consciousness here. You're blaming the wrong thing. Your attention's on the wrong thing. If you've got immune problems, you've got bone marrow problems or thymus gland problems, better to get into the thymus gland and bone marrow than it is to take some tea tree. Just my opinion. Now here's a good case. This is, thanks for all the videos. This is April. I love that name since I was born in April. Let me see, I found you on YouTube. Here's another diabetes. Now, you're going to see these all over the place. This is a 9-year-old, so obviously it's been dubbed as type 1. Let's see, he's a 9-year-old. I just feel sorry for all the moms and their babies right now. It just upsets me to no end when you see all these babies in trouble and you're still pushing the formulas on people and everything. It makes me want to puke. God, I feel sorry for all these moms. He's 9 years old. A little over a month ago, he had some symptoms he'd never had before. He has always been pretty active and seemingly healthy, but started wetting the bed all of a sudden. Okay? Now, drinking a lot more fluids, going to the bathroom very frequently, headaches. This went on for a few weeks until one night he started vomiting frequently for 2 days. So I took him to the ER, and it turns out his blood sugar was 900. They diagnosed him with type 1, of course. After 4 days in the hospital, they managed to get his blood sugar down and got him onto the insulin. He takes about 30 units a day. There's no history of diabetes in either side of the family, so it was a real shocker. Well, let me stop right there and let's address that, because that's where obviously they're looking at these things. That type 1 particularly is more of a genetic issue because it happens in the younger ones and not occur. Let's look at a neurological type diabetes for a minute. All the mother would have to have is a real weak adrenal gland, or father, or grandmother, grandpa, has to have a real weak adrenal gland. Of course, if they have it, the grandparents have it, the parents have it, and then, you know. And as we've been talking genetics, these children of 9 years old, these children of 6 years old, these children born, they're in deep doo-doo. They have so many genetic problems right now in our society. It's not fun. Just look around. All you have to do is just look around. You don't have to believe anything. Just look around. It's become self-evident. No one has to make those claims. It's obvious. And so this is another lad like that. Now get this. What's the first thing he started doing? Bedwetting. You know what controls that? The pituitary. All right? So we're in a pituitary situation here probably. Okay, the pituitary does control everybody else, including the islets. It controls the thyroid and parathyroid. And notice that your blood work, they were looking at his thyroid. And by the way, his thyroid was low, but his TSH was low, but in normal ranges. But that's the pituitary. That's the pituitary. So I'm suspecting a pituitary issue with this young man. But that would be what? That would be lymphatics and gut, wouldn't it? The transverse bowels at issue here, the gut, the cerebellum, all these things are at issue, affecting the blood sugar. With the adrenals, you've got the neurological connection to the pancreas. with the cerebellum, you also have the parasympathetic part of the autonomic connection. So you've got two connections there. I submit to you, your son is probably bowel issued and also lymphatic, way up in the sinuses and everything else. And this is suppressing the hypothalamus and the pituitary, therefore having a residual kick down to the pancreas and anywhere else. It is truly possible on top of this at 9 years old to have real low blood pressure. And one of you gave me his blood pressure. It was this lad. And I'll take a look at this blood pressure here. 95/48. Now, he's only 9 years old, but I can tell you, I think that's way too low. And so I think that directs our attention to both kidneys. I think 48 is too low for good, healthy kidneys. And so I think this lad is in just what everybody else is in at this age, very weak kidneys and adrenal glands, translating into neurological weaknesses. And isn't it, did you tell me he had maybe ADD or something like that? There's another one here I've got to read you, same thing. I do believe that I have adrenal issues. After watching your videos and connecting the dots, I have started working on my own lymph-moving diet, currently on a fruit diet right now. Good mom. And that's what you want to do, your son, is fruits, because she sent me a whole bunch of stuff. Listen here. Here's a diet recommendation from some insane dietitian that has no clue about health. Here we go, rice and quinoa. You're having blood sugar problems and you're taking rice and quinoa. Those are starches. You don't get starch with blood sugar problems. If it's type 2, 1, hypoglycemia, whoever thought of doing that? You know, some of this glycemic index is ridiculous bullcrap. And this is one of them right here. Another one, turkey jerky. Both of those will raise the blood sugars. So what the hell are they recommending here? Foods that raise the blood sugar? They got a lot of crap here they gave this mother. Just a lot of crap. Something about reviewing treatment of hypoglycemia here, which is interesting. TSH 1.48. The A1C, of course, is 12.9. But you got to go into that little man's body and clean him up and fix him up. Get his liver back in shape. Get his pancreas back in shape. Remember, they're just branches off the tree, and the tree is the GI tract, the trunk. And so is the kidneys. So we got to clean up the kidneys, get those stronger, make them stronger, not just clean them out. You got to strengthen these tissues. And these young people like this, it isn't just detox, it's also strengthening and rebuilding weaknesses. And that's what we're into, is strengthening and rebuilding weaknesses on top of getting rid of why those weaknesses are there. Even in a genetic stance, like the mother knows exactly what she's doing. She's going to put herself on a diet. She's going after her lymph system. She's getting it. And this is, of course, you got to do the same thing with her young son and start going in that direction. Don't be afraid. If you get him all on fruits, just put him all on fruits and see how he does. You know, work that out. Now, you're going to have some glucose loading for a couple of days probably, but that'll all balance out. Free T4 is only 0.67. That's what the thyroid produces, which converts to T3, which is thyroxine. So it's obviously the low thyroid. But with bedwetting, I'm going to put my stuff back to the pituitary again. I think that we also might have a connecting link. Good thing to do, sweetheart, is get me an eye picture of your son. The best picture you can get of both eyes of your son. Let's take a look at it. Looking at your blood sugar schedules, he seems to do afternoon, late afternoon, the worst. So look at that lunch meal and everything. Get him on fruits and stuff. He'll even have a problem with vegetables, I'll tell you. He's a very smart and beautiful child who I think is one of the new souls. I believe that, honey. And this is Leah in San Diego. Well, here's April and here's Leah both. So I don't know. These were all typed together. I don't know who I'm talking here, but wherever it is. It's just the young lad right here. But you see how he's a little puffy? He's definitely got kidney and adrenals and lymphatic problems. How about the little white dog? But you'll be able to take care of him in San Diego. Just kind of watch what we're saying. Get him on the fruits. If you want our help, call up and get him on a program or something. Definitely get him on the herbs and stuff. I would get into the pancreas, I'd get into the gut, I'd clean up the liver, I'd get in the kidneys and adrenals, brain and nerve, it'll be a great one. brain and nerve number 2. You might even think about a little pituitary for him, just a little piece of a pituitary glandular, or get chase tree, vitex, something like that, and work with his pituitary gland, because that is my suspicion that there's some involvement there in connection to this type 1. Whether it's a neurological type 1, which is what this sounds like, or we've got some beta cells that are not real happy. What makes a cell not real happy? Acids and lymph. You know, if you had a bunch of mucus all over your face like an octopus, you wouldn't like it either. This is Kelly. Kelly, I am so excited to report the following story to you of my 4-year-old son, Jesse. Here's another good mom here. So she's been working her son Jesse has been taking the lymphatic, endocrine, and kidney bladder formula off and on. And this is a 4-year-old. So realize that 4-year-olds can take these herbs as infants. We have infants on these herbs, really, and you see nothing but good stuff. He has shown signs of drainage, but he's full of congestion. This young lad is full of congestion. Let me read back here. Since Jesse was 1, he has suffered with ear infections, congestion, and cold symptoms about every other month, to the point that he was hospitalized last year for an infection in his throat that was so severe the infected swollen tissue was pushing on his spinal column at the base of his skull. The doctors assumed, even after a CT scan, that it was his tonsils, so they removed his tonsils. It wasn't his tonsils, they found out it was his throat. Jesus, when are these people going to grow up and learn? I feel sorry for you, honey, that your son had to lose his tonsils. But this is all lymph. This is just lymph, and more lymph. And I know we're a lymph channel, but if it wasn't lymph, I would be saying blood, blood, blood. But that mucus is not blood, it's lymph. And this is one to where the GI tract has to be considered. He's backed all the way up the esophagus, all up in the sinuses, all up in the back of the neck. So this kid's got a real weak kidney and adrenals. But this is what we're seeing. This is standard issue right now. Standard issue. Lucky he hasn't got a brain tumor, because that also is coming to us quite heavily in 3- and 4-year-olds or brain tumors. And this young man is working on it. So we need to drain his lymph system ASAP. And that is get those kidneys, get him on something. He's only 4 years old, so you have to be kind of careful. You want kidney number 1, lymphatic number 1, use an adrenal formula, that sort of thing, and work this child out. Get him on fruit. He's only 4. It'll develop his brain and nervous system like it should be. So good work, guys. Keep it up. You see what we're faced with. That's why all you Facebook and YouTubers that really want to be healers, get your robe on, and keep working and helping yourself and everyone around you. We need to buddy up. This isn't, let's throw our differences to the side and let's buddy up and change the planet. When you leave the planet, you'll be able to go, you did a good job. And that's what we need to do. We need to do a good job here. And the first order of the day is to get rid of politicians. You can't have politicians anymore. You have to have people that are spiritual people. Only spiritual people can pull us out of this, because they're God people. And spiritual people do not see religious differences. A spiritual person does not see Homo sapien differences. In the terms of, yeah, you're unique because you look different, you might be a different color. I like that. And, oh, your specialty is this. Oh, that's cool. You know, we need to start loving and appreciating our differences instead of the opposite. These are just high spiritual understanding. Simple stuff. So those of you who are in religions, don't get upset. Spirituality isn't to be feared like maybe ministers have portrayed it. Spirituality means that you see everything as God, that you love everything as you love God. What's wrong with that? Nothing, honey. This is all more on April here, and this goes back. Yeah, same thing. This is April. This is all April. This is the same child, and this is where I was reading, April, on this, that he was also borderline ADHD. Now, this is this 9-year-old here. Well, what does that tell you right now? We got type 1 sitting here. We got ADHD here. What's going on? Can we almost... Now, with the eyes, we could probably get some insight to that with the pancreatic. But if you don't see undigested foods, if he doesn't move his bowels too much, he doesn't get gas when he eats fruits and vegetables, the chances of having a pancreatic weakness is a little bit on the low side. However, a neurological diabetes is very, very prominent. You're seeing more and more of them. And here's a link to the adrenals. ADHD. This is a link to the autonomic. That same autonomic, it controls beta cells. So we're in that mix here. That's why I say use that brain and nerve number 2. Really go in there and build up those adrenal glands in this young man. If you said the bottom line, which tissues suffer the most in genetics in humans? Kidney tissue, adrenal tissue, gut tissue. And now, of course, everything else is going down too. But of the most common, you're almost 100% of the time you find those tissues in trouble. And I can also say that probably can take 20% away from the kidneys, because in a lot of cases it's the adrenals and the kidneys are not so bad. So this is just, just more of the same thing. I was also diagnosed with borderline ADHD several months ago when I had him tested for that, since my brother was diagnosed with that. See what I'm saying? The family's coming down with losing their kidneys, their adrenals, which then translates to losing their autonomics. And then you see all the breathing problems like the asthmas and the COPDs, and you start seeing all the other problems that's going in here. And then thyroids are crashing. You see, man's in trouble. And we can fix it all, can't we? We can. With all of us working together as a team, we can fix everybody. And we've just got to get away from medical consciousness. Medical consciousness has to start picking our consciousness up and getting rid of what doesn't work. I get rid of what doesn't work here. I always get rid of what doesn't work. Why would you keep something that doesn't work around? And why would you keep something that keeps hurting people? Why would you keep using that? I'd like to line them all up and ask them that. Why would you do that? Is it just a monetary issue? Next. With his diabetes, see, I'm homeschooling him now, of course, but work with him that way there, April, and you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Here's another one. This is from Charnel. Is that right? Charnel? Is that how you pronounce that, honey? Oh, farm boys aren't so good at pronunciations, let me tell you. I think my school is probably 38th of 40 in Indiana. Wow, I found your channel today, and I think it's what I've been looking for. After 3 years of trying to get pregnant on our own, I finally went to see a doc, and he diagnosed me with PCOS. All right, what's PCOS? You got to get used to that polycystic ovarian syndrome. Polycystic means many cysts. Many. And cysts are what? Blood problems? No, lymph problems. So what's going on with this gal already? Kidney and adrenals, right? But would kidney and adrenals cause her from not getting pregnant? Where else might we want to go here? Pituitary. You're always going to go to a pituitary when a woman can't conceive well. And at least in most of the cases we work on, as soon as we get that pituitary going, they conceive. This whole thing of artificial insemination and all this crap, why don't we just put our attention into making people healthy again? We wouldn't have to create the nightmare that we're creating. Like Wonder Woman, what do we call her? The 14 kids. And get this, diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, simply meaning she's having multiple cysts on the ovaries. Please. Now, the only thing they did was put me on metformin. That's for blood sugar. Metformin. Jesus criminy. I'm sure they had their reason. He died, and since I am trying to get pregnant, put me on a Clomid. After 3 months of metformin and having severe diarrhea, I knew there must be a better way. Isn't that funny? And a natural way. After a lot of research, I learned about raw food lifestyles, blah, 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 blah. Great. I can do such herbs and detoxifying. I ask to help people, some 80-10-10 people, but I can't seem to get them to help me without paying for coaching. Well, you know what? We have the same problem, but I make sure you get coached enough, and this is free coaching for you. So that's the extent of what we can do too, because we have to put food on the table of everybody here. But I'm not going to let anybody go without help. So too bad. I want to get pregnant, but I want to be healthy. Well, honey, I'm going to tell you this. Clean up your bowels. Go into the kidneys and adrenals. Clean up all this so you can quit growing these cysts on the ovaries. But I can say that I also highly suspect your pituitary. Now, the best thing to do is take the female reproductive formula. That is a pituitary formula. Don't tell anybody. And it also is an ovarian uterine formula. So the female reproductive formula, I suggest stop trying to conceive for a little while and get yourself healthy, because with the female reproductive formula, you can conceive real quick. That would not be preferred, because we want you to get time to get your kidneys and adrenals healthy before you say, here, my child, here's my weaknesses. Let's get out of thinking that way. Let's pull back, get ourselves healthy, and say, here, my child, here, you golden children, you beautiful souls coming in to help us change this planet. Here's a halfway healthy body so you can do your work with. And that's what we've got to do, in my opinion. These are my opinions. But I really think this is important, because it's obvious to us all that we can't keep going the same direction. And this is a common thing. Women can't conceive well nowadays in the world. But get that female reproductive or work on your pituitary. Again, highly suggest, sweetheart, you get your kidneys and your adrenals healthy, so everything's healthy when you pass this. And I'd suggest the husband or the father of the child do the same thing. And that way you're assured. This is Ms. Pa. I recently had a consult with me on Skype. Yep, I know, and we had a hard time with that, right? I know it. He's living in Costa Rica and working on recovering from chronic fatigue syndrome. He wanted some clarity. When I first started the program, I started to improve within a few weeks. Now, this is one that I want to relate to what we talked about a couple of videos ago. When I first started the program, I started to improve within a few weeks. For about 6 weeks, I was feeling a little bit better every week. I was on a diet of mostly fruits, mono meals, perfect, and about 3 times a week, I would have a salad with avocado. Honking it. This he's honking it. One of my biggest problems is insomnia. So we know one of his biggest problems is up here in the head. We know that up here in the head, he has some real chronic lymphatic problems, doesn't he? But where else would we look when we see chronic head problems, whether it's pituitary or a pineal or wherever? It would be the pineal we're talking about, correct? Well, now, where else would we look? Exactly. We're going to go to his colon. We're going to clean up his bowel structure. We're going to clean up his kidneys. We're going to clean up his adrenals, because what do we have to do? We have to drain his brain of what? Acid sewage. That would be helpful. That gives the pineal gland to go, oh, I feel so much better. Oh, I got a little burnt here and there. Oh, that's repairing. Good. Oh, yeah, I'm doing good. Oh, you're resting better? Good, I'm doing my job. This is what we've got to do. And this guy obviously has, and I know Mespa, I know you guys, so I know what you're up against here. Now, listen to this. All of a sudden, one day, the insomnia returned and my sleep pattern has been disturbed ever since. Now, you got to get back and hit it hard. And I would do upper circulation. I have your chart here anyway, my friend, but I would do upper circ, brain and nerve, of course. You could take something for the pineal gland. You could use a pineal glandular if you were willing to eat some tissue like that. If not, then just use your fruits and their berries. The endocrine gland formula would be the only thing I'd recommend. Upper circ and brain and nerve will help get up in there, move blood aggressively in the pineal gland, help to strengthen any brain cells there, so that's good. An endocrine gland formula, get into the bowels, GI broom, stomach and bowels, lymphatic 1 capsules, clean that up, get your adrenals and start cleaning that up. But this is what I'm saying, is that don't feel like you're not doing anything. See how you got better, and then wham! That's what I was talking about. And I know this is in my face to talk to you guys about this, because we're seeing it here now and then. And it just happened the other day with this girl I was telling you about with the liver enzymes. And it's like, wow, here's my weaknesses in my face. And so it's just that process toward the end I like this, toward the end of getting well. So you keep hitting it, my friend. Keep hitting it deeper, deeper, deeper. You can take some things, like your pineal gland concentrate or something. You can work with that, but you keep tearing it apart. You're in the right place. You're doing the right things. You're just bringing up this aggressive haunts, and that's detox. Don't freak out, guys. This is typical detox. Oh my God, it's not working. Yes, it is working. It's pulling out your weaknesses. And you've got to understand that part of that, and then you're good. You just keep plowing through it, and pretty soon that'll be left in the dust, and you'll be almost there of getting well. These are, generally speaking, these are the last phases of getting well, is when your symptoms come roaring back. Hang in there. Hang in there. You can kick up. You're already doing the mango fast. At the same time, mango fast, I started on the new protocol you gave me, which has 3. Yeah, see, now here's the thing. I gave this guy 3 lymphatic formulas because he's hurting so bad. It definitely kicked things up a notch. It will. The detox is uncomfortable with nausea from time. Break it down, but break it down. Taking too much. Cut your lymphatics in half then. If you're too much nausea, I'm pulling too hard. Back up, my friend. Back up a little bit. And slow up a little bit. We can get going too fast here. I always have a low-grade headache, but things don't really feel like they are moving. Well, go out and give yourself some, if you're filtering in the kidneys, make sure you're filtering in the kidneys and seeing sediment. Then go out and have some people work on you with the deep tissue work, or at least with some lymph node drainage and stuff, and see if you can't break some of this loose. Remember, years of lymph stagnation yields hardened, more solidified mucus, and it can feel like it doesn't want to break loose, and it just takes a while for hydration. You might also try this, Nesbitt. You might try the 3-lung tea and then the lungs 2. That's because everything up here, it'll start breaking this mucus up a little. Even up here, you're after 3-lung tea. You can neti pot it, you can drink it, you can breathe it, but also lungs 2. And these are all mucus breaker uppers. Fenugreek, mullein, hardened mucus, pleurisy root, all for hardened sputum or mucus to help dissolve and break that up. You're going to have to probably get into some things like that, man. Candle the ears. Try candling the ears. Maybe you have a blockage there to help pull that loose. You just start trying to open up everything you can when you feel that stuff is solid and not breaking up. And it's just what I'm saying. You can't hydrate drinking some water. Get out of here. It takes a while to get this interstitial fluid back to a base acid balance. And that's hydration on the base side. So that's just a process that takes time. And that's we're waking up to the answers, which is good, but now we got a long winding road, a process of going back and fixing everything we've done. That's why the world, it might be hard to take, but this is what we have to do. I don't see any way around it. Well, maybe stem cells if we hang on long enough. But keep working. Ms. Bob, that's how you're going to do that, okay? And thanks so much. Thank you so much, and I hope you're doing well. Oh yeah, knives over forks or something. Why can't people outside the U.S. Not buy? Now, this is the one where I was telling you. You can buy herbs in every country except the ones I mentioned, and even in those, we have our ways in some of them to get you some herbs. My daughter is 35 and had a colostomy about 5 years ago. At 35 years old, here's a lady with a colostomy, meaning a bag on here because she either had bowel cancer or severe Crohn's or something, and they took out, and this has to be close to the rectum for her to lose that. Can you make any kind of diet suggestions for her? Thanks. And this is GGUERARD. Absolutely, absolutely no protein. Absolutely no protein. You don't do protein with colon problems, colon cancers, IBS, Crohn's. No protein whatsoever. No nuts, no grains, no beans, no dead animals, no nothing. Oh, absolutely not. You want those fruits, berries, and melons, and vegetables if you like, going down that GI tract. really do. I'd also put some GI broom down that. I'd put the stomach and bowel down that. I'd put lymphatic 1 capsules down that. I'd be honking on my kidney and adrenals, trying to reroute that lymph toward the kidneys. I'd be doing all those things for sure. 35 years old? Are you kidding me? She just had the most trouble part pulled out. She hadn't done anything to fix it yet. You got to fix these things, and this is what people don't understand is you can't just have something removed and say, okay, I'm good. Ha! That don't work that way. Many women have no breasts from that, and now they have tumors back on the chest wall. No, you got to fix things. Got to fix things, I'm just saying. One more here, and then we got to go, guys. But so miss every one of you here. This one. I'm bad. I could go crazy over you. Here's another one over here. Oh, wait a minute. Here's another one. This is Monica. And Monica asked me, how do I start a clinic? I want to open a scientifically verified as curing plant detox-based healing center alongside a hospital where people can stay to heal without legal implications from government. Well, that's a big mouthful, Monica. But detoxification and health, it has to be separate than medical. You could have a place right beside there. I'd love that. But what you've got to do is show people that you can cure people. So you open up your little health center, Dr. Morse's Herbal Health Center. We're going to franchise those Dr. Morse's Herbal Health Clubs. This will give you guys protection. We're not going to charge much. Well, you're going to, we'll help you set it up. We'll educate you and start healing people. But your focus has to be on health. Anywhere in the world, it must be focused on the proper thinking. And the proper thinking is we're about health. We're about health of the cell. And the health of the cell means those two fluids taking care of that cell must be flowing and moving appropriately and a good acid-base balance maintained. That means you have to predominantly eat fruits and vegetables. Predominantly, and berries and melons. If you want to have good body health and body chemistry, fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables. And less vegetables, probably better. But I don't care. Vegetables are okay to a certain point. So all of that's good when you're taking someone from a billy goat diet. I am healing myself right now, and that's the best thing you can do. And I have no one around to soothe me directly when I am struggling. Well, you got the Facebook. Get on the Facebook. You got a lot of Facebook people. And you Facebook people work with love. Don't forget that. We got to put our arms around each other. Even those that are hurting, try to just open your hearts up because closed hearts generally yields death. Of all the people that come in here near death, those that we can't save have closed hearts. And there's only a few of those. Because we try to open your heart up as much as we can, One of my students in another state is helping her, which is good. I have no money, no full natural modality qualifications, and I'm still mending myself. Well, you know what? Don't you think it's time we show the world you don't have to have academics stacked a mile high? Don't you think it's time we show the world that? Because I certainly do. I think it's time we have to show that the mind is the problem. The mind is creation. If you want God and love in your life, don't look to creation, because creation is what God's playing with. That's not God. That's the expression of. This is the drama of good and bad and duality, of up and down and good day, bad day, this and that, legs tore off here. That's drama. It isn't who you are. So you really got to get with who you are playing the role in the drama. As an actor, who are you? You look at some of these actors and they play so many roles. If you ask them, who are you? Some actors say, I really don't know. I play so many roles and I have to be so many different types of people. I don't know who I am anymore. And this is true with everybody. We play so many roles in creation. Mom, dad, son, daughter, husband, wife, steel worker, auto manufacturer. We play all these roles. It's just a game. But who is the role player here? And it's all about finding out who you are. And that'll give you stability of emotions and mind. So it's the mind we have to get out of. You don't need a list of degrees a mile long. We're proving that. Look at you YouTubers. Some of you guys have no degrees and you're curing up people right and left. Ha! Don't you love it? I love it. I mean, that's just what we need. We got to change the whole concept. Man's digging his grave with his mind. Can't do that. Can't do that. That's just a tool we're using to create what we want. But we have to be careful what we create because we're responsible for that creation. You might not think so, but God says so. That's how we learned about what Jesus said. You reap what we sow. What Buddha said, karma. Same thing. They both knew each other. Same thing. What they're saying is if you create an action, you're going to get an opposite and equal reaction. Who else said that? Oh, the law of physics. You see what I'm saying? It's everywhere. So those in religious belief systems, don't get upset. These are just natural laws that exist. You should be taught that. And if you're not taught that, then somebody's not teaching you truth. And we all have to stand up for truth. There's too much you're bad, I'm good out there. There's too much of that. So, contact us, Monica. This is James. Oh, this is to James. This is Monica. We'll help you out there. Healing herself. I have no career but a passion. That's all you need. The passion. Passion is worth everything. So I'm on your side, Monica. Don't feel like you have to have. And this is the problem with a lot of people. And Kathy had that here. She felt like I had degrees. She didn't have any degrees. I said, Kathy, I'll tear mine right up right now. Who cares? Who cares? You've got to know what you're doing. No question about it. But you don't have to be medically educated to be a detoxifier. Matter of fact, sometimes the more education you have, the stupider you get, remember? I had a good friend chiropractor. He thought he should be a medical doctor, and they have, of course, courses for chiropractors and naturopaths to get their MD degrees. So he got his medical degree, and then he got further away from healing, and so then all his clients started calling me up. It's like, no, you got to be careful, because when you take on something, you absorb into it, and you take on the role, and then you forget. Be strong in your awareness. We have a society that has to learn it's not about colleges and degrees. It's about passion and love and what you want to take on. I'm passionate about what I do. Therefore, I want to know everything about it. I want to make sure I'm not hurting people. With the mind, it doesn't matter if we kill a few people. At least the state prosecutors, the federal prosecutors, all these people seem to go along with that idea. It's okay to kill a bunch of people with pharmaceuticals, and it's okay, I guess. Now, what if our herbs kill somebody? Would that be okay too, if it's just one person? Last year, 1 million died allopathically and none naturopathically. So if we did kill one person, what would happen to us? This is from Paul Smith. I found your site very soon after you got started. Oh, thanks, Paul. Thank you, my friend. Can you help, please? My husband's teeth. Well, that sounds like a woman asking me that. My husband's teeth have become very loose over the last couple of years. His gums have receded to almost the root, and he has a lot of bacteria around the gum. Now, what could that bacteria around the gum be after? What do you think that bacteria is doing around the gum? Do you think that bacteria is after the tooth, after the cells? See, if you'll get away from that kind of thinking, we'll all be better off. That's medical thinking, and that's further from the truth. They're after what? They're after what's breaking down the gums and the teeth, right? Now, look, we've got a mouth here full of what? Cells. Teeth are cells, bone is cells, gums are cells. Everything here is not the mucosa. Everything here is cells. You have a big lymph system in here. The mucosa is part of that. That's part of your lymph system. It protects you because what's coming in here isn't always good, right? So you've got a mucosa lined all the way down here, all the way up here to protect the cells. That is the lymph system. That's the mucus. That's lipid-based. And so you notice that most of our problems have mucus involved in that. That's Arnold Ayers' mucus healing diet system because he thought mucus was the problem. But why? And that but why is as an immune response. The mucosa produces mucus as an immune response to what? What possibly could you create mucus in the mouth for and create all this congestion for? Why would the body do that? Protect itself, right? From what? And the key word, a lot of you guys aren't going to like this, the key word, proteins. Milk proteins, the worst on the world, and you all know that. And so this is what the body's fighting. And you just have to realize that this is all about acidosis. This is all about this gentleman's lymph system. He might have tonsils and he might not. You'll see especially a faster decay without tonsils. But this is all about the lymph system. That's why I have no teeth right here. Same problem. Same problem. I was raised on so much milk that my sinus bone actually was chewed up from all the acids. That's what acids do. And so this is what your husband's doing, sweetheart. I suggest this. Get some of that heel oil tea and start holding it in his mouth. Now, it's strong astringent, so it's going to feel like it's astringing a little bit, but that's what you want to do. There's antibacterial, so you don't worry about that, but it's going to pull and draw, and you want that. Spit it out, hold another one. Sit there while he's watching TV. And you can make it strong like douching. If you want to cut it down, he can drink it too. But you hold it in your mouth, and don't overdo it, but take about a half a cup of heel oil tea, and work that in holding your mouth, and then do it every evening. At the same time, you've got to clean up the bowels. You've got to clean up. This is all one big extension. One big extension of the bowels, nasty as it is. So this all has to be cleaned up because the drainage, and here's all these lymph nodes, here's all these lymph nodes, here's all these lymph nodes, and they all go back to the kidneys. So you got to get the kidneys, the adrenals, and go after that, and then this will come clean. Remember that case I told you where this was a pancreatic cancer case, and one day she came to me and she said, well, I've been to the dentist and I had one of my teeth was loose and he pulled it, and there's another one loose, he's going to pull that. Remember that case? That was a horrid case, but I did save her. But what happened? All her teeth became loose. I told her, no, this is detox. And all her teeth became loose. Abscesses all in her mouth. Where did these abscesses come from? Do you think the herbs did that? Of course not. This is all lymph. That's why she had 3 cancers before she was 35. Cervical, thyroid, and then pancreatic. Now, medical doctors' idea of the first cancer was hysterectomy, of course. The idea on the second thyroid cancer was a thyroidectomy, of course. But wait a minute, there's more. And that's the problem is instead of fixing this at the first cancer, they just chopped it out, kept on going. No, it don't matter what you eat, keep on going. That kind of thinking needs to be buried and taken out back. That kind of thinking is so antiquated, I don't know what to tell you. When a medical doctor is saying that now, please, man, just throw in your license, throw your keys in, go home and retire. You're probably wealthy enough to do that. No offense, but this burns my bacon sometimes because this is what's happening. Because of medical thinking, we're ending up with 3 cancers. We're ending up with 2 or 3 cancers. We're ending up with these things because all we're doing is sitting there killing bacteria. This is our answer. Our answer is to kill what God sent to help clean up the mess. We don't care about the sewage. We don't care about the tumors. Jesus. I mean, this is unbelievable. You just get, after a while, you get shaken up a little bit. Let me see. The dentist said he had to pull 3 teeth out and treat the rest of the pus from the gums with antibiotic therapy. And this dentist, I had a long discussion with my dentist a couple of days ago about this because he's losing his knees. And I said, hey, doc, you lose your knees the same way I lose my teeth. And I'm trying to get him on board because he's an older dentist. He's superb. But his thinking is still bacteria. We need to get there changing. Needs to maybe call up the Minnesota School of Dentistry and get re-upped on these because I'll tell you, this is about the lymph and acids. And if you don't get with that, then you don't know what the cause of the problem is and you're treating some bacterial bullshit that really is just there trying to help. You offer sewage, plan on bacteria. That's all I got to say. Medical or whoever, you offer a culturing medium in your body, which is your sewer system, expect God to send in the troops. Why wouldn't you? It's just common sense. So just do those things there. Also, let me see, also 11 years ago, after giving birth to my daughter who diagnosed on the septum of autism, I had retained placenta for 6 weeks until I succumbed to septicemia. Holy crap! I have never fully recovered from that. All right, so sweetheart, you got to do the same thing the hubby's got to do. You get in, you detoxify. Get some Heal tea, your husband needs it, and you douche with it. You douche with it, try to lift it, get in a tub or something, lift your hips up. When you insert it, try to get that tea up as far into the uterus as you can. If you can get past that, get up there as much as you can. Get that Heal tea in there. At the same time, internally, you're going into the kidneys, you're going into the adrenals, you're going into the lymph, you're going into the gut. You're going into that body where those channels are broken down through years of genetics and rebuilding them. Those channels are the channels of blood and lymph flow, particularly lymph flow. And vital to clean all this up, septicemia and everything else. This is a point where lymph creates septicemia. You know, the body's blood has got to be kept pure. That's the good point for why we don't dump sewage in the blood, right? Septicemia? Then where would this idea that cellular wastes are dumped back into the venous system, where did that come from? Because if you're a biochemist and you think all acids are converted to bases, you must be drinking something in the back room. You and I know this as chemists, that's not going to happen. All right. I've had arthritis symptoms throughout my body. So her lymph system is, when you see septicemia, even if it's blamed on a retention of a placenta, it's just eggs on top of eggs. You just got sewage on top of sewage, and you had decay and necroticism on top of all this. And you just have to clean yourself out, sweetheart. Just clean yourself out. Listen to the protocols I'm given, because we pretty much stick with the same protocols. They work on everybody. Oh, too simple. Uh-oh. Now, I've had arthritis symptoms throughout my body, low white blood cells. Okay, low bone marrow. Now, honey, you got to get on this. I got a Chinese formula in here for bone marrow. You want to get on this, move your lymph. That's what breaks down bone marrow. Don't play around with this. I don't like low white blood cells, so you get into your bone marrow. There are herbs for bone marrow. Our ultimate immune is for bone marrow. We have a Chinese formula for bone marrow. I have a new formula coming for bone marrow. You want to clean your spleen out at the same time. Adrenals, oh yeah, absolutely. You want to get hormone imbalances, allergies. You just got to go about your health. Forget about all these things and go about health. Clean everybody out, strengthen everybody up, and get you on a protocol here. Taking herbs to give most of them to my daughter. The glandulars for my adrenals have helped. How long can I keep taking them? As long as you want. It's been about 3 months now. I've had one cartilage repair on my knee done. Well, now you also have to think about the parathyroid and calcium utilization if you're having too much of a breakdown in the body. Can your kidneys repair themselves? Absolutely. I know that this is my absolutely here. She's feeling pain in the kidney area, of course. And also on that little, that diabetic feeling pain in the kidneys. Absolutely. I mean, you're feeling pain where you have your weaknesses. Absolutely. We have been doing a protocol from the Pfeiffer Institute, which has helped moderately. Yeah. Kim, kick your family on up to the top of the mountain. Quit messing. Pfeiffer and all these people like that, they play these isolate games. You want to get much higher regeneration. Clean that body out of you and your husband and your children. They're going to have weaker genes than you guys, so start fixing everybody up. Okay. I hope that he can get all this up for you guys soon. One more, and I got to run. Oh, this is the same one. After 3 years of trying to get pregnant on our own, I finally found a doc. This is the same one. All right. I'll be here forever. And I would enjoy it because I love all of you. And we all make a good team, don't you think? I do. And every one of you that I've met, I've been impressed. I just think we make a real good team. You all are doing so good work. I get stories coming all over the place. We've got our students are helping people all over the place. Ken, you're doing a great job, man. Lion Man, where are you? Where are you guys? But thank you so much for all your work, guys, and for helping yourselves. And just keep it up. Keep that love flowing. Keep that light on. Be the light. If my word for the day is just be the light, be the love. And if people just turn away, okay, keep going. Don't take anything personally. This is a tough place to be. And just give love and just see everyone as God. And just help people get well. And get yourself well. Love you all. We'll see you later. Namaste, Barak Bashad. Have a fun, happy day. Bye-bye. How are you all doing? I hope you are doing well. I was just talking to one of the YouTubers, and I tell you, now you guys are getting this so well. I am so impressed. Yes. As a matter of fact, this one YouTuber, she was talking, she says, she says, you were right about those vegetables. She says, I can't go back on them without steaming them because they're just too coarse. They take up too much energy. Hello. You wouldn't know those things unless you got higher. And this girl's working herself well. She's up fasting and things like this. So she's up on a higher level. And remember, when you get up on these higher levels, truth exposes itself a little more and a little differently. You can't judge until you've been there. And then you can look back. You know, it's funny, truth has all these different levels to it. And when you're way out there on these fruit diets and stuff, you get to see truth at a much greater range. And so it's hard for people not to judge when you're doing those things because of all the propaganda bull crap and everything that people, have been told. So I wanted to kind of catch up a little bit more here with you. I'm trying to keep up with at least your daily hurts and stuff because I don't want anything to go around. Oh, this is a good one here. There's so many good questions. You guys are getting really good. So let me take off here and see if I can't help you guys here. Now, this person was diagnosed. This is Patty, and she was diagnosed with hypothyroid when she was 11 or 12. And she's 39 right now. She has been on synthetic T4, which is what the thyroid produces, since her diagnosis. And T4 is like levothyroxine or Synthroid. I am a human anatomy and physiology professor. Good, Patty, good job. And I find allopathic medicine to be quite irrational and dangerous. This sounds like a woman I really get with right here. This is a smart woman here. It is totally irrational when you start looking at all this and you start looking at the lymph and you understand simplicity of things, and especially if you're an A&P professor and you're really getting away from the way you were taught and you start looking differently and you start getting into health and you start seeing things taking place that effects of a process that's different than what you've been told. And so, things that, but keep in mind, theories abound our world so much that we've accepted a lot of theories as factual information when in fact they're just theories. I sometimes wonder, what do we really know? The chemist was in here the other day and we were talking. I get a lot of chemists in here for some reason, but and we've created a monster here, chemistry that we have no idea yet. I desperately want to be free of pharmaceutical drugs. I am working with a holistic MD who is keeping me reduced. He's helping her reduce her T4s and T3. She's on T3 as well now. Eliminating those drugs. You could have natural T3, which is armor, but still, that's a hormone out of a cow. The MD suggested I also include sea vegetables, which was smart of this medical doctor because the uptake of iodine is good for the thyroid, but not potassium iodine, not iodine by itself. You got to introduce it into a full complex, let the body take it as it's needed. And yeah, absolutely, I always give kelp as one of the good herbs for the thyroid because it is the highest level of iodine and calcium of even dulse or nori, that sort of thing. And Brazil nuts to my diet as I reduce my meds. I did purchase your weeks 1 and 2 detox kit and plan on adding this to a green juice and fruit diet. I want to know if you could offer any additional suggestions for our health. Absolutely, Patty. Well, this is where I get into the glandulars. You're already walking down that road anyway. Depending on how low the thyroid is, you would use a thyroid glandular. And what you would do is, glandulars are, of course, the desiccated tissue. It's not the hormone of the tissue. There's no hormones or steroids in glandulars. Their idea is to excite the whole gland. One lady was having kidney pain, and she just ordered the New Zealand kidney glandulars, which I don't use those much. And in someone that's losing their kidneys, you betcha. But and it just stopped her kidney pain right off. So those that have extreme weaknesses in tissues, you can use related tissue to get well. And that, It's just what we can use in today's world. As we grow and detox and we get higher level thinking and our babies are healthier, we won't have such a need and the whole world will change accordingly. We change in our consciousness a lot faster than we can get the world to change. Notice that? So I would use a thyroid glandular. Now, you want to correlate that, Patty, with female menses. Did you start young? Did you had irregular periods? Look and see if you can pick any other pituitary possibilities. Vitiligo and shoot, I mean, there's all kinds of things, I suppose. The eyes would have it, though, Patty, to whether you have a pituitary influence. If you're having colon problems in any way, the possibility or probability of having a pituitary problem is up there. So you would want to maybe go that way. Look and see if you have parathyroid weaknesses with it. They're both going to yield you connective tissue weaknesses, which is prolapsing, wrinkled, saggy skins, breasts, prolapsing uteruses, bladders, bowels, things like that, depressions, petechia, bruising easy, varicose veins, spider veins, hemorrhoids. If you see too many of those things, you definitely can go to the parathyroid. And if you see both the thyroid and parathyroid, then it is more possible to have a pituitary. If you have female issues, conclusive, I would hit the pituitary with a glandular and let that. At the same time, you can start titrating, meaning coming off of your glandulars. You've got a holistic MD. A holistic MD's job would be to get you off of these glandulars, off of these pharmaceuticals, especially synthetics, knowing that the longer you're on them, the weaker the gland would be, then his job would be to try to find a replacement. And you might want to introduce your MD to glandulars. Medical doctors should use glandulars. It fits in their glove pretty good. There's no reason for them to be antagonistic because it's got physics behind it and a lot of chemistry behind the use of them and a lot of years. So I can't imagine why that wouldn't fit their hand really well. And they would get away from these steroid use. I'm going to read another one here to you with a cortisol cream and what happened to this girl. You just can't use hormones and steroids. You've heard enough people doing it to where that's a big no. No. We want to get to the acidosis and get to the core of this issue. So I would use that, Patty, at the same time. Get in your kidneys, get into your adrenals, clean up your bowels. Just in case it is a pituitary, you've got to address causative problems. And the more I train you guys with the eyes, you'll see that connection between the transverse bowel and the genetics there and embryology and how that reached up and affected the pituitary in this whole genetic past that we're going through. And by fixing this and cleaning up these related areas, then it has a residual kick right back to the related gland. And so that'd be good too. So that's the only thing there. We don't know pituitary, controlling thyroid, parathyroid, things like that. So that's the only thing. If you try a pituitary glandular, a thyroid glandular, and it didn't seem to have that you needed, then it probably is the pituitary. And this would also be true if they can't regulate this with synthetic T4 and T3. Knowing the pituitary is the problem, it'd be a TSH problem. And even though they're looking at T3s and T4s, a lot of blame gets on them when it's a TSH problem. And again, I'm just saying that understanding those, you can find the right glandular and use that to pop that. At the same time you're correcting the Y, then after a while it'll all hold and you don't need to take anything. And that's the whole goal of wellness, is that we're supposed to just live off the earth, have the type of foods our body's designed to eat, right? This is Lillian, I think, I don't know how to pronounce your name other than Lily, L-I-L-I-A-N-E. Thank you, sweetheart. Listen, she had a tonsillectomy at age 10. Puberty began 4 days after I turned 10. Ate a lot of meat growing up, including liver and kidney. Yeah, didn't we all? I don't know if I ever ate kidney, but boy, we had liver. Have always been very sensitive. Had a parotid tumor removed 13 years ago. Yep, the area you said never to mess with. Yeah, I just had another guy in here last week, same thing, and it's like, now he's got real big tumors on the side of his neck, and it's like, I can get these, but just anything that develops above this area, that can be very problematic, because if they move the lymph node here, whoo, not good. I mean, it's just, these are things we have to all become aware of here, and there have been poor souls that have marched ahead of us that taught us these lessons, and yet they still keep doing it. But they don't have any other tools, since the FDA doesn't like the black salve or bloodroot. By the way, anybody who wants to get on a class action lawsuit against the FDA, I'm going to start one here in the next few months, and we'll build on this, because this just can't continue to happen. And then, of course, they're trying to ban some of the best cancer herbs on the planet that we've used for 40 years with nothing but curative rates in cancer. So you can't outlaw an herb saying that it has the potential to cause liver damage, especially the overuse of that particular alkaloid in rats in laboratories, and then try to outlaw the best herbs on the planet, but at the same time allow chemicals known to cause liver damage and to kill people. You just can't be the same Consumer Protection Agency giving out that same kind of double-edged thinking, because that's corrupt. It's obvious, and it needs to be dealt with by the citizens. The only ones going to deal with them are the citizens, not the feds. You can't ask the federal government. Look at what happened when they didn't turn over papers to the Congress. The Attorney General, his own office decided, well, we're not going to prosecute our own boss. You see, this is the problem. Nobody's monitoring the feds in America, and I'm sure this is worldwide. Now, I really messed up. No, you didn't. Now, relax, honey. You'll get it okay. I did not know then why I had such extreme nerve sensitivity after surgery. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Shock waves of pain came upon me from just walking. It gradually subsided some. Years later, I was diagnosed with RSDS. It also did nerve damage to my face. Now, sweetheart, you can rebuild nerve damage. And that's what I say. It's going to take a high-fruit diet to rebuild the nervous system. You've heard me talk here before. So it's a high-fruit diet, fruit, berries, and melons, but get on that upper circulation and brain and nerve. At the same time, let's go back to what Patty is. We've got problems up here. We've got problems here. So clean up the tree, clean up the trunk, get in the GI tract, get the kidneys, get the adrenals, get your lymph system, because that's always the causative factors. Get that system moving, get this acidosis out of you, and then all this will rebuild. But this is in the head area, so it's right in your face. Pardon the pun, but it's right in your face to deal with this now, because brain lesions and things like this can occur if you're getting equilibrium or dizzy. Matter of fact, let's go on here a minute. Let's see. Fast forward to nearly 6 years ago now. I fell. I know my adrenals were really messed up, and I broke my hand. Did not heal. Now, she's not healing well. Well, that's one side of extreme acidosis. But what are we looking at when we're healing in terms of bone or tissues and things like this? We need adrenal steroids, correct? Absolutely. What else do we need? Parathyroid. We need parathormone. We need to utilize calcium, right? Right. So we need all these things to take place. Also, who's going to clean up the trauma from the fracture? Who's going to clean up the mess here where you traumatized and broke your hand? Your lymph system. So if your lymph system isn't moving well to begin with, you're not going to clean up the traumatized area as much, and you're always going to have a little weakness there. So in a detox, dear, I think you're going to feel your hand again. I can pretty much guarantee that. Doesn't sound like you're healing well here at all. And again, you need a base balance to heal. So you really need to move your body into that direction. Let me see here. I unfortunately submitted to 3 ganglion blocks and 1 barrier block. Oh man, very painful and made me worse. The neurotoxins really did a number on. See, this is the play of the medical field. These are like children. These medical doctors are like little children that have the right to do anything they want with people. Oh, you mean I get to experiment all I want? Sends me out to nowhere land. So they say, you got a lot of passion. I got a lot of passion because a lot of people are hurting and suffering because of what the AMA, because of how we did with the American Dietetics. We're all hurting. So yeah. We got to change things, and sooner than later. And that's what I love about you guys. It's all coming sooner than later. Then thank all of you for helping all your friends and all your people, all you Facebook guys, all of you guys all around the world. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. We're going to fix this planet. She had neurotoxicity from the anesthesia from the tumor removal. Interesting how when you go back you can remember these things, especially when we start looking at the negative effects of anesthesia on the nervous system of the human body and what happens when we shut down the nervous system to things. Remember the thing on type 1, the neural system shut down on the beta cells. You can be going to the beta cells. Nothing wrong with the pancreas. What's going on here? Oh, did we not think? So, you know, this, and consciousness is like that. And I don't blame anything. I tell you this. In the day past, okay, but we know too much right now to say that let the medical profession get away with this. We know way too much, and they know too much. It's not a day we can claim, well, I didn't know that happened anymore. We know. We know. She's been on disability for the past nearly 6 years. Her right hand is like a claw now. Oh, honey. Well, you definitely got to get the parathyroid, the thyroid up, get your adrenals up, start moving your lymph, and this claw will open right back up. But you got to get your nervous system. Take care of that. Clean your head out. Get the central nervous system cleaned up, and you should be able to get your hand back. I know I have lymph constipation. I can see the white ring in my eyes. Ugh. Hope that's not a cholesterol ring. I can't handle much stress. My nervous system and adrenal. See, your nervous system is so bad that everything. See what I'm saying? You're succumbing to acidosis big time here, honey. So you really, her mom passed here a few years ago. Really upset her bad. She's just out having fun. So just relax. You'll have fun with her. Don't worry. Felt like almost completely dead battery. Well, that's what the adrenals do. That's a battery, and you guys are getting this so good. I mean, when you look at what this lady's saying, she's seeing her problems. She's seeing through this now, so this is a good thing. I also know my kidneys have issues as it looks like I have golf balls inserted on the outside of both of my ankles. Ooh. Yeah, you're in kidney failure. There's no question about it. I went vegetarian 9 years ago, have been mainly vegan the last six and raw mostly days for the past 5 months. I've lost 20 pounds, blah, blah. Kidneys filtered heavily once in a while. Good deal. Looked like non-fat milk was, oh, her kidneys gave loose and it looked like non-fat dry milk. Holy crap. Woo-hoo-hoo. Did you see coming out? I was just talking to a lady. Her fingers are splitting and bleeding and she's getting black stuff out of it. So you ladies that are putting all these beautiful lotions on, just make sure you can take that lotion and tip it up and take a swig. Because if you can't take your lotion and tip it up and take a swig, you're putting wrong things on your skin, girls. And you ladies, don't hurt yourselves anymore. You know, all these commercials are just commercials. Make sure you have a food-based or herbal-based lotions and everything else. Treat your body nice, girls. You too, guys, but the girls know more about that, I think. Had a black spot on my tongue and a white back. So much detox is taking place. I am in a bad way financially, being on SSDS. Cannot afford any herbs. Well, by the way, sweetheart, I'm going to try to help you here. I've got a shelf back there. Sometimes this herb company we're using now doesn't know how to pack them, so we get a lot of damage. So I'm going to give this, hopefully, to someone back there can help you a little bit, dear. We're doing our best. It's the same order of the day. This is Leanne, if you call it that. I get dry and night sweat, day and night sweats. Again, you got thyroid going on here. A body going on here, could have stomach again. This began shortly after the surgery for the have also severe insomnia issues. You got a lot going up here, sweetheart. That was evident just to have a tumor here. So you know you really got a lot going up here. Insomnia is the pineal gland. So you got a lot going up in here. I would candle my ears. get my gut cleaned up, try to get those sinuses to break loose, and really get your kidneys filtering. Sounds like you're getting some hit and miss filtration, so you're going to be, sounds like you're going to be fine that way. So that's exciting that way. She also has some vertigo. So where are we, guys? Vertigo, dizziness, equilibrium, right back here in the cerebellum. So she's really backed up here. Cerebellum, pineal's in there. She's got a lot going on here. She had a tumor on one side or another. So you can see where that lymph system, what other system could it be? None. It's the lymph system. And that's right where it's at. It's just not that we're stuck on the lymph. This is factual. This is what she's dealing with. So she has to get this out of there. She began at age 40. Not severe, but I have spotty arms mostly. Oh, this is vitiligo. This is not vertigo. This is vitiligo. All right. Okay. We know, hands down now, she's up here. Pineal insomnia, pituitary, vitiligo, skin pigmentation changes. Got to really clean this upper head out and get this lymph moving. Real important to do that. Girl. Lastly, my teeth are really bad, primarily on the right side. I finally figured out why. The surgery messed up my salivary parotid gland. My mouth is dry. When I chew food, my neck sweats. You know, you could just get little pieces of horseradish root and try to inspire more circulation of lymph and blood in the mouth area, and try to get that movement of fluid going. Just a little bit, not too much and create too much mucus out of it, but just a little bit to get everybody going. Strong onions, things like this. But a little bit of horseradish root could get things stirred up and going. Just a little bit. Might be something to take a look at. Maybe even use just pinches, just tad bits of cayenne pepper, organic cayenne pepper on stuff. Just a little bit, just to kind of promote things going here. But again, you've got to clean up your bowels. Number one place, help to get up here. Get up in here. You can get up here with upper circumbrain and nerve. But really, now, this is where you would definitely want to take a pituitary glandular, and she could even take a pineal glandular to rest for herself. A person's got to rest, but also get up there and get that pituitary honking on. Get on that pituitary. I do a glandular on that baby because you don't want to see your whole skin mess up. Well, that should do it for now. Yeah, I'd say so. Well, I'm going to hand this over and see what we can do to help you, sweetheart. You pull what you can, we'll pull what we can, and we'll meet you in the middle somewhere, and maybe we can help you get all your stuff back in a state of health and wellness. It should be my focus. I love your eye, Miss Bina. 78. It might be pronounced differently, I don't know, but I assure that's one interesting eye there. Now I'm writing you an advice of another user. I have asked health gurus on YouTube, and none of them have been able to answer my particular question. So this ought to be a good one. I have been diagnosed with aplastic anemia for the second time in my life. I believe it is an autoimmune because it responded to immune suppressive therapy and steroids the first time around. Well, let me go back and give you another definition of that. Adrenal glands. Why? Iron. Look at the adrenal glands and over 25 steroids for the utilization of different metals and minerals. And you'll find iron is one of them. You'll find that when you have low red blood cells and low... But I will say that we're going back to the bone marrow here. And the bone marrow, you never want to have bone marrow problems. It's a deep issue there. That's suspected in this, of course. And so you, let me go here. I do not want to take these drugs again, exactly, because you know what they went through. She tosses a little bit about that. She has been eating one piece of organic meat to keep her red blood cells up. I can't say I blame her, because of blood transfusions, that's not fun either. But at the same time here, sweetheart, get into your adrenal glands. Start, clean out your liver, clean out your spleen. I've got bone marrow herbs for you to help build the bone marrow up. And go after that. Our Ultimate Immune is a great bone marrow builder. And really go after that. Go after your immune system. I have a really good immune formula too. Just my immune formula. I don't use it much, but I tell you, a very powerful formula. I really love it. So you can use the immune formula and get in there and move your lymph, because this is why you lose your immune system, of course, and bone marrow is your lymph. So you want to go in after that and take off. I need the blood, but I do this, meat and fruit. Just what you got here, meat and fruit and berries and melons. That's just what I would do. Just stabilize your red blood cells. This is a time where I would recommend that. Just for a while, as I can get, you fix all your other stuff, get your red blood cells, get your iron, hemoglobin, hematocrits, get all those up. then you'll be good and you can drop the dead animal. Right now, that's okay with me. You know, try to maintain your blood count. My body attacks the new blood. Well, yeah, I mean, you just have to fix the body that you have. I agree with you with too much blood transfusions, not the order of the day either. So we want to get your bone marrow back in shape. Keep in mind, though, sweetheart, that your lymph system chews up everything. And it's your lymph system that's chewing up the bone marrow. So you've got to keep that in mind, fixing that while we go in and we have herbs for bone marrow. We have things for spleen and livers, and we can clean up these organs. I don't have a picture of your eye. I mean, I see your eye here, but real hard to see, sweetheart. Let me see. She goes on down with talking about that. I seem to be getting worse, and I fear that I might die soon. I am it's hard for me to say this, but neutropenic, and they wanted to quarantine me recently because they were afraid I might die. When I tried to refuse the blood transfusion, my hemoglobin dropped so low that I couldn't even walk. Yeah, I would maintain it. This is a time where medical doctors let them keep stabilizing you, sweetheart. In the meantime, you're going in your body and you're going to rip on those adrenals, get those kidneys, get that lymph moving. Get into the bone marrow, build that bone marrow up. Clean that spleen, clean that liver, get all these related organs to hemoglobin, hematocrit, red blood cells, all of this stuff. Get into those tissues and build those up. That's all it is. And notice you had and you haven't. So you do have the ability to be well here. It's not like you've carried this all the way through. So this is a good sign. But it's also a sign of lymphatic issues. So you want to get a hold of that. And even if we are getting into a little genetics, you can rebuild those as well. That I suspiciously got after dinner. Now, she's recognizing this particularly as she had dental fillings. And what the doctors say is she's too unhealthy to have the fillings removed. I don't know if I agree with that. But you want to get yourself on and another thing I would do is I would get a thymus, a glandular, and just take one twice a day or do some thymus thumping. But a thymus glandular is going to really activate the T cells. And even though that's not what we're dealing with, the thymus can activate a lot of things, including bone marrow. My feeling is. So hit after that thymus just for one bottle of thymus and pull up your thymus gland tube, dear. Now, this is Glinda Darella. Didn't I get that? Glinda Rella. I know, you make sure, sweetheart, I'm getting it. Grapes or not? This is Glinda's thing. Will grapes hurt or will help or hurt kidney function? Glenda, smacky, smacky, smacky. They help kidney function. Are you kidding? They love kidneys. Grapes are in there hugging every kidney cell, and they're kissing them. They love kidneys. Most doctors suggest that fruits and veggies are kept to a minimum. Which doctors? You don't want to make. I don't blame them. I don't blame anybody that has absolutely no knowledge in one field giving advice in it. Actually, I can't stand that. I mean, it's like someone asked me, and I built a lot of custom homes before, so I know I can totally do the electrical works in a house. I can totally do the plumbing in a house, done it many times. But air conditioning, I'm not so good at, so I have to get it. Someone asked me an air conditioning or heating question, it would be like, I could lie to you and come up with some bullcrap idea. It's what medical doctors do when it comes to health. Or I could go to people that's their field. They're chemists. They've tore health apart. That'd be the ones I'd go to. But you could go to someone that has no clue at all about health and get their opinion. They'd love to give it to them. And especially these nitrogen thinkers. Jesus criminy. Hey, Tori, I haven't seen you in a while. 604, love the dog. Just love that dog. Appendicitis. And this is important. What do you recommend someone do about appendicitis? Someone close to me was admitted to the hospital for appendicitis. It hasn't ruptured. It's painful, but manageable. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks, Tora. Castor oil packs, number one. Castor oil packs. You could do a little hot and cold there. a little hot and cold, but you would want stomach and bowel number 1, something real gentle. After you get that inflammation down, I would use lymphatic 1 capsules, but I would start out with 1 3 times a day, real gentle. Try real gentle. Real gentle foods, I would try definitely, let's say, 80% raw, 20% cooked, maybe a little less raw, 70% raw, 30% cooked. However, related to only fruits and vegetables. Those things you're going to cook, excuse me. I haven't shut up all day. But make it only fruits and vegetables. Right now, the worst thing she could or he could do, protein. You want me to prove it to you? Just have this person start eating a lot of protein. They'll be in yanking that appendix out real quick. No, 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 no. This is where you would never touch protein. When your appendix is ready to rupture, you got to back up and try to save this ability. I would also take the Bones formula 2 3 times a day. Very healing herbs. Anything like that, definitely. But a castor oil pack over the appendix here, try to get that inflammation to spread out of there. It's interstitial lymphatic constipation, except the lymph node now is involved, called the appendix. And that does mean that you probably have interstitial, or that person has interstitial lymphatic constipation in the gut wall, no question. And this is systemic anyway, so they're going to have all this going. When they get a little more stabilized, you could probably use GI broom. I probably wouldn't use it right now. A lot of astringents could wake that puppy way up, and then they'd probably yank it out. So I'd be real careful with that. I'd just be real gentle at first, knowing that you want to keep moving toward that fruits, berries, and melon picture, but right now, too aggressive for that appendix. You want to do some steamed vegetables, stay away from the cruciferouses, stay away from the sulfurs, stay away from the broccolis, the cauliflowers, the cabbages, gas and bloating. No, we don't need anything like that. So steam some vegetables lightly. Some green drinks might be good, but I wouldn't overpower the body with nutrition right now. I just kind of keep everything balanced. Apples, probably your subacute is going to be your best fruit line to go into. Your apples, your peaches, your pears, your mangoes. Stay away from the acid fruits right now. A little too aggressive for that problem, that sort of thing, and see if they can slowly work this out. But that's what I would do to them. This one is from Lady Love. God, I love your names out there. Jeez, here I'm a little farm boy in Port Charlotte, huh? I am currently having DMSO treatments to my bladder because of interstitial cystitis. And what is interstitial cystitis or interstitial inflammation anywhere? What is that? Is that blood problems? Is the blood getting mad at us or something? No, it's all about acids, isn't it? It's only chemistry. All things is chemistry, so you could actually walk to chemistry and say, which one of you guys are doing this? And the acid people are going to say, well, we are. Absolutely. I think I have to see a lady's tumor here in a minute, so I've got to end this up. I followed Dr. M's advice and did nut and fruits and juices for my lymph, but then the bladder problem started and the fruit seemed to make it more painful, and urinating is so painful at times. This is the problem, and it is a problem because fruits are very, very aggressive. You might have to start back and do a little greens like that, do some steamed vegetables yourself, and start doing the gentle side of fruits, you know, your subacid types of fruits, and be gentle with that and get this opened up. I will say this to you, Lady Love. I would probably live on some marshmallow tea. See how the Heal All tea works for you. It is still a little strong, but you can cut it down in terms of strength. So I would definitely pull Heal All tea cut down. It has marshmallow in it, or marshmallow and or marshmallow tea with it or by itself. Marshmallow mullein, very anti-inflammatory. These are all anti-inflammatories. Matter of fact, going back to that appendix, you could do the same thing. You could drink marshmallow tea, mullein. These are all anti-inflammatories, settles things down. That's where you're going to find your best help on all these things is in the herbs. Sometimes I get to thinking of detox so much I forget we can also use them to help us in all these other ways too. So anything like that, slippery elm, marshmallow, chickweed, anything like that's going to be very valuable to that. Anti-inflammatory, mullein, all helps with acidosis and stuff. I'd probably be bringing that through the kidneys a lot, that sort of thing. Our formulas are aggressive, so cut way down, no question. If you're that inflamed, cut way down. And matter of fact, use slippery elm or marshmallow or hill oil tea as a medium for your herbs. You could do that. But yes, cut way down, cut off all the fruits, cut down to the subacids and the sweet fruits. You can add some steamed vegetables and vegetables in there. The catch-22 is you lose detoxification with them. Okay in a painful situation, no question, but you have to kind of juggle this with cleaning interstitially, with getting that out. And the trouble is the bladder and kidneys are all right there. And so they need the lymph nodes, they need all this. So again, go to the adrenal glands more, things like that. Get your steroids up. Things like this will be very helpful to you, lady love. And let the people help you through this. A little too strong, and no question, I'm a kind of a guy that goes out and plows the field and doesn't mess, so you can back up a little bit, definitely, sweetheart, and take it easier. Take it easier. But keep in mind, you've got to balance taking it easier with getting this out. And remember, your case particularly too, you would never do proteins with interstitial cystitis like this. You would just never do that. That would not be fun. And of course, she would know it immediately when she did it. So let's get you fixed up here, honey. If that's too much, let us know. We'll cut off the fruits. Fruits are very powerful, guys. They really expose weaknesses. They really pull and are powerful. And so definitely can cut down on them. Go to the subacids and the sweet fruits. But again, you can do some steamed vegetables. Be careful with doing too much of the cooked and not cleaning that lymph at the same time. And it just isn't fun cleaning acids out of the body. It can be very painful. You can get arthritis very painful. Now, we have an inflammation joint formula. You could use that one. I use inflammation. I've redid it over the weekend, so I took it from here to what I thought to out the moon, but really good anti-inflammatory. Or study your herbs and look for good anti-inflammatory herbs. I gave you a handful right there, and that'll be very helpful to you as well. And you will get that. You will get that, and you just keep working with that. Use those herbs to buffer, though. You can even use aloe even, but use those herbs to buffer the acidosis. They are healing on top of it. The Bones formula, very healing. Go that approach for a while. Keep your fruits, maybe 30-40%. Get steamed vegetables and some salads if you can tolerate all that. Super chew, and just see how you work that out with that. All right, this is B-A-N-E, Bane. I found you on YouTube. Let me see. He's got seborrheic dermatitis. They blame that on a fungus, but to tell you the truth, this goes back, and she's got it on her scalp and face, and she's suffering so much. And again, this shows you how bad acids are and how much pain that acids can cause. And the cause to the nervous system too, because remember, everybody's in there. Nerve endings are in there. It's like everything else, so acids don't care. So it really, yeah, I can see that you're suffering. Again, remember, anything up here in the face lymphatically is going to have a gut relationship. So always clean up your, and we need to anyway. I mean, this is like a disposal. You always clean the sewer system once in a while anyway, especially when you put crap down there that don't belong. And we eat all the sticky, gluey, putrefactive foods. So, yeah, you need to clean this gut up no matter what. Get your adrenals up, dear one, and your kidneys, and get your lymph filtering. Candle your ears a little bit. See if you can take some of this off of here and get your lymph moving and pull all this off, and your skin will clear right up. You can, if you want to take something for fungus, you need to. Most people need to anyway. At first, when a dermatologist diagnosed it, she gave me some cream, Synoderm, with cortical steroids. Didn't do too well. I can tell you that by reading this on it. And that's the problem. Remember, the longer you're on cortical type steroids, you lose your adrenals even more. And the problem is, that's part of the problem in the first place. By taking steroids, so people bitch at me for glandulars, but walk to the medical doctors and now they're really tearing their glands up. So, healing has got its ups and downs. Yeah, you wish you could be pure, but in reality, things are different. There's just so many things that are different in reality, and we can make purity our reality but there's a process at this level to get it. I can think purity in about fraction of a millisecond, but instigating it and putting it in play in creation takes time. So that's the problem. In consciousness, we can be there now. But in time, we got to travel from point A to point B. Creation. So I can tell this one's suffering. Hit your adrenal glands, dear one. You were on these corticosteroid types. You want to hit your adrenals big time with a glandular, get those adrenals up, producing your own steroids. And again, my skin is so dry and I have dandruff. What the heck is dandruff? Lymph coming out where? The head. So you see what I'm saying? Your lymph system is really involved. You got all the clues, all the signs here are telling you, sweetheart. So, Bane, you've got to get yourself. Is this male or female? Bane? Could be male. Well, sweetie, whether one way or another, get that lymph moving. One, you've got to really clean up your body here and get your lymph moving, and all this will be clear because, again, you don't want to start popping basal or squamous cells. You want to start, because after a while, acids, start breaking down cells. I've got to go, but I want to thank this one lady, too. Who was this? Oh, no, this is Daniel. Hey, Daniel, thanks for this. This is in response to the lady that the nutritionist that was talking about fruits are more phosphorus than calcium, and he just went to show her all the fruits that have more calcium than phosphorus, and I think that you have to take a look at this. Now, you have to realize this is a list. It's not important to what's on the list. If it is, we can definitely give it to you. But the issue is that we have to stop this intellectual jargon because this lady felt that she could understand health through that. Well, I'm a chemist, sweetheart, and I can tell you that I backed away from it because it's insane. You won't find your answers. It's more confusing as you dig your deeper holes. It's just theory bound. You're going to pull away from that. You'll get far more better done if you see simply how we work in clinical practice. The tools of nature. Your diet, obvious, number one. What you eat, what you drink, what you breathe, and what you put on your skin. Make sure it's fruits, berries, and melons or some type of vegetables. Period. Second of all, what was I'm going to say here? Use the herbs. I mean, you don't have to use mine. Make your own. Do whatever you want to do. But God gave us plenty of beauties out there, and this planet is loaded with some beauties. And these herbs, and when you study them, you just fall in love more and more and more because you realize these herbs are here for us. These herbs are here, just waiting. Karma. Hey, you want to use me? No, you're passing me up. Here, I can help you. Oh, you want that chemical pharmaceutical crap? I can do better. So we got to get into the herbs. These are the tools, and use your tools and have fun with this, guys. And if I can be of more help, I'm going to keep carrying you guys down this road. So I love you all, and any help you need, keep writing in, and we'll help you all some way, somehow. Everyone is going to be helped somehow. There's plenty of us out there helping now, so hopefully we can help you all and everyone find their remedy. All right, have a fun day. Pleasure to always spend time with all of you. I love all of you. And thank you for having me in your household and tuning in and listening to us all the time. I appreciate all that, and I think you know who does too. Because I'm telling you, being a vehicle for spirit or for love, that's the greatest feeling there is. It just, nothing means nothing unless all of us are happy and everybody's feeling good, I am and someone isn't. That's no good. So let's all help. Love you. Actually, I had looked up here, and there's one more I want to discuss because this is Jessica. My son was given the diagnosis of MD, muscular dystrophy, 3 years ago. The doctors told me to go home and enjoy my son while he is still, if I cry, forgive me, around, and to not look around the internet for a cure because there was none. A medical doctor tells you that crap. That just grinds my... Don't try to find a cure for your son. There's none. You're going to believe one person that says that? If I ever say that to you, you guys have that. You could take a baseball bat and hit me upside the head. Time for me to go anyway. When you get that ignorant, that arrogant, that closed-minded, it's just disgusting. Maybe he doesn't have a cure, but guess who does? Your son. You pull your son out of this MD. And how do you do this? What decays the nervous system? What decays muscles? What breaks down bones? What breaks down the body? Acids. There's only two sides of chemistry. You can play on the alkaline side, and yes, too much alkalinity is a problem too, no question. But to keep it simplistic, just keep it acidosis. Because in the way we do things, we're not going to get you alkalosis. We're going to get you full of a good acid-base balance. So this is how you decay. This kid's got no question adrenals. No question kidneys, no question. So you have to fix this with your son here, dear. You've got to get in these kidneys and adrenals. You're going to find low blood pressure here with your son, blah, 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 blah. Now, you might have some interactions up here in the cerebellum and the central nervous system, no question. So upper circuit, brain and nerve. Upper circulation and brain and nerve on this young man. You want to get into the kidneys, you want to get the adrenals, you want to move his lymphs. Just like you would treat an adult, you're going to go after your son the same way. Except you don't have the dosages, but you're going the same way, same tissues. So you're going the same way. I have been doing tons of research for an answer. I have my son on a lot of raw food. Let's don't do a lot. Let's do total fruits, berries, and melons. He's 3. He needs his brain matured. You can give him some coconut milk with that. That'll give him more fatty acids if you feel safe with that. Give you more amino acids. But really get your son on coconut, water, or milk, and fruits, berries, and melons. And really hit your son hard, and you'll start to see a change. He is 10 now. Oh yeah, hit him hard. Now he's going to have to be hard to change, but MD, are you kidding? And in a wheelchair. Let's get him out of a wheelchair. Let's get this boy turned around here. This is just what I've been telling all you guys about. There's tons of MD. And guess what? There's tons of quads. There's tons of paraplegics. There's a ton of MS. There's a ton of ALS, Lou Gehrig's. There's a ton of Parkinson's. We have the answers to help them. We proved it. We showed it to you. And we can show you more and more and more. So no matter what you think, if you think, well, I'm not sure, think about what you need to do. You want to regenerate my son. I have my son. I want to regenerate him. What degenerates him? I mean, just start asking a question. If you don't believe what we're saying, start asking yourself the right questions. What side of chemistry hurts people? What part of the body deals with acids? What fluid? Just start getting into all the things we're teaching you here, and sweetheart, you'll get your son back. And I wouldn't stop till my son was walking again, no question. He is losing arm strength, absolutely. Acids will totally take you back to the grave again. That's what they do. That's what this whole thing is about. I've been watching your YouTube videos and have not noticed you touch on MD. I have touched on it, sweetheart. It might be lost somewhere in those videos back there, but let's address this. Let's take care of this. Let's get your son back, dear. And you got to go in. You got to check the thyroid, the parathyroid, check all your glands. Make sure he's utilizing calcium. That's important. Got to move the lymph. Got to get the adrenals up, all your steroids, neurotransmitters. Get upper circuit, brain, and nerve. You get your serotonin. You get everybody moving. You take care of the cerebellum. Everybody starts turning on life again. You get the acids out. Muscles can rebuild. Everything can turn back on. But it's a neuromuscular problem. Let me see here. Is it the same as any other disease? Absolutely. Except, you know, except that I don't always go up in the brain and the nervous system and things like that on everything, but absolutely it's tied into the same thing, same acid, same lymph system, same everything. Blood doesn't break. I mean, if you think back at simplistic, we're talking about a body that, if you look at it simplistically, you can see how it works. If you try to look at it too intellectually, then you can't see how it works because nobody can figure it out. I mean, we understand some of it, but then there's the world of theories. Hi, Dr. Morris, the Ouija bird. Hey, Daniel here. Been feeling a tug, ache on my liver this week. On Hill, all tea, 3 times a day, lymph. Well, then, when you're feeling a tug on your liver like it, you come do that on the camera. That was Shannon giving me one of these.
That way you don't leave the door open.
Yeah, next time I ain't leaving the door open. Well, I'm finishing up here because I wanted to talk to this lady with the MD son. And I tell you what you do, Ouija bird, slow back down, take a little break. Too strong. Marshmallow's a perfect take here. Liver formula's good. It could be opening up a nest of worms or not. Could be strong on you or not. Now, beets are real strong on the liver. I'll tell you that right now. I've been telling you guys, and it is. Beets are real strong on the liver. The lymphatic formulas are real strong on the liver. But pull off of those and take a little break, or cut down on the lymphatic 1 caps. Yeah, cut down on the lymphatic caps. I like the idea of the marshmallow. Go out and get yourself some liver herbs. Oh, I got so many things I'm trying to think of at once, I can't even think about it. Should I cut back or have a break from the herbs? Absolutely. Just go ahead and do that, Ouija bird. All right, guys, got to run. Just wanted to touch on these two, especially with Daniel here, but also with this lady with the 10-year-old MD. You know what? There's nothing incurable, and I want you to put that in your mind, all of you. Do not listen. Look at what that MD did to this lady. Don't even go looking. Don't go searching on the internet. Don't go looking, because there's really nothing. What this lady did was totally the opposite. Pretty much, you know, find a place to go, medical doctor. I'm going to get my son well. I love you, dear. That's a smart mom and a smart mother, and that's just what you needed to do, Jessica. There is help, and there is hope. It's just we've got to get up to these higher levels, because there is none down below. You cannot regenerate, MD, on these low diets of vegetables and vitamins and minerals. Look at Lorenzo oil, and you can see some of these where they had improvements. We want cures. We want remedies. We want regeneration. If you want that, you got to work for it and pull yourself up to these higher levels. So have fun with that. Keep me informed, and if you need help, give us a buzz. Thank you. Bye. 2 weeks to class. Hope you guys are ready for it. And we're going to do a level 2 next year. If we do another level 1, it'll be next fall. But next April, maybe 1st of April, we're going to do a level 2. And so we'll try to pull in all our people, but we're going to really tear cases apart at level 2. All righty. Bye-bye. Have fun tonight. Lady Boo-Boo? Not tonight. I realize, and I think a lot of you are starting to realize, the gravity of what we're doing and this whole focus. We are in serious trouble in the human health issues, no question, around the world. There's no question that allopathy is part of the problem, not part of the solution. And you guys are a part of the solution. And that is so important that you realize how important all of you are. And all of you that are new coming aboard, I'm proud of you. You know, tearing up your health issues are very, very important. One can start feeling good within a few days. Sometimes it takes months, and I've had people so bad that it takes them a year or more to get well. And it's just, I'll give you an example. Babe has been on, I'm sure she's 400 almost, or coming up to 400 days on juice fasting, and she doesn't feel a lot better than when she started. And that is extreme on the rare side. You just never saw that. Back in the day, the natural hygienic fasting institutes, you could go back to those and water fast for a couple of weeks. Generally, the rule of thumb in these fasting clinics were fasting until your tongue turned pink again. Because generally, when you start detoxing, your tongue turns white or greenish or brownish, depending on the level of toxicity of the bowels. So your tongue has always been a great indicator. If it's real red and cracked, that means you've got a lot of acidosis and inflammation in the gut, probably more in the gut wall, but definitely burning up the bowels. The thick white or mucus people have, they have all these tongue scrapers. Those things are, that just shows the amount of lymph and the toxicity. The darker, the greener, the browner, obviously the more chronic and toxic the problem. So in the old days, you generally fasted until the tongue turned pink again. I don't think it was any real indicator of deep tissue detoxification by any stretch, but it was some indicator that the colon had come much cleaner. So definitely the road to Guelville is paved with a lot of ups and downs for some people. It's all about elimination of waste in the human body, and going back to what you know and keeping it simple. The human body is just a bunch of cells and two major fluids. And if you understand that, and understand the gig is just keeping the cells healthy so the cells can perform their jobs. And keeping anything healthy is making sure that adequate nutrition is consumed, and that's where a lot of questions lie. And then, of course, equally as important is eliminating the waste from the use of that chemistry. So this is where man has failed miserably, because a lot of the products that man has consumed, and a great example of that is white flour. Wonder Bread used to have this little saying, Wonder Bread builds the body in 12 different ways. it is my understanding that the FDA finally stepped in and said, wait a minute, you can't say that because white bread is basically more of a problem than it is a solution. White bread, gluten is a glue, we all know that, and the old saying, the whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead, is an old saying that, and it's bowel glue. A lot of the mucoid plaque is definitely from starch, white flour products. So it's obvious that on the road to Wellville, we get rid of those things that are manufactured, those things that are processed, and go right back to the foods that nature says, here, I just grew this for you, here you go. So a lot of you are really doing well on that road. It is difficult, particularly more difficult for the men, no question. We're the acid side, and that side is, aggressive. It goes without thinking. It just goes. And that's what acids do. And so women tend to take care of themselves more. So us guys, we got to get it going. But if you haven't noticed, that a lot of the YouTubers are more balanced. When you're more balanced in your maleness and your femaleness, and you can track that to the steroids, of course, of testosterone and estrogen and the various degrees of those. But truly, when you're more balanced and you're not identifying with male or female, that's when you're pulling yourself more in the tremendous now that exists. We really haven't had any good, long spiritual conversations lately, and I think some of the reason I just get to the point where there's not a lot to say. Hopefully we can cut the road to Wellville and even introduce it to this planet, but also introduce a higher level of thinking, even amongst the religions, because I think it's time the religions need to turn to the love side of their faith and really demonstrate that by being a love factor. You hear that a lot in religions, and the difference between a spiritually awakened person and one who follows a religion is generally opinions. Opinions that are so strong that they'll kill another person over it, or they'll spend a lifetime trying to get other people to come over to their belief systems. I think that everybody is where they need to be for that moment, but be aware that the next moment could give you a greater sense of awareness and take you down a different path. Never in creation do you follow the same path forever. Boring, and that's not the God way. We talked a great deal in the past about that which is the creator of all things. Very difficult for someone to understand God and the Creator when they're using the mind, because remember, we talked a great deal that when you engage your thought processes, you're engaging creation, you're engaging your drama. And I think I've said this before, but the simplest way to understand all of this, I think, is to understand that God is like a huge mirror, and that mirror is almost circular in the sense that there is no beginning and there is no end. There is no up, there is no down. There's no backwards, there's no forwards, meaning that God is infinite. Infinite means there is no limitation, there is no restriction, there is no boundaries, there is no, what can you say? I mean, it's just really hard to say about how do you describe that which is infinite, that which is all of the all. And a lot of faiths have tried. The I am that I am. And there's an old saying, and it's interesting. And it goes something like this. I think, therefore I am. Now you've heard that one, right? But I think that it's better said, I am, therefore I think. Because truly you are a piece of that mirror. If you took a big mirror and shattered it, the only difference between the pieces of the mirror and the mirror is that that's just what they are. They're pieces of the whole. And you have to understand, when something's omnipresent, it means there is no limitation to that. There is no end or beginning to it. It is all things. It encompasses all things. So you can't experience outside of God, because there is no outside of God. There isn't God and then something outside of that, like the devil or something else, because in all religions, basically, God is touted as omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. So it is, and that's very factual, I think, in that when you're talking about a divine essence, because you can't call it a being, really, because there is no definition. Hard to define that, but when you understand that creation is the playground for the little pieces, because it all is God. And that's why I keep saying that you'll be happier if you just be love and you see everything as that piece of mirror of God, that everything is that shattered piece of mirror. It is totally, we all are. In consciousness, we all are the same. We're all of that essence. But individually, the drama is at foot. And that would be of all of us. We create our own dramas. And how interesting is that God divided itself up in endless amounts of pieces and are developing itself in these pieces so the pieces can dream, so that you can someday have your own creation. It's your own total world. It almost is now. And now you interact with a lot of different souls. I can take you to a place where everything starts emanating from you. Your whole worlds and worlds upon worlds start coming out of you. And you start seeing your creation start manifesting and flowing. Interesting experience. If you ever have a chance to read Paul Twitchell's The Tiger's Fang, you'll get a good look at these God worlds and what some of the experiences are you can have in them. They're talked about in a lot of the religions. Some of the higher worlds, though, very difficult to find information for them. You have to go back in the old Sanskrit writings, and some of those you just lose. You just don't get up there. There's just levels that souls that have bodies here have a hard time remembering or getting back to, because there's the mind puts such a cloak over the brightness of you. You know, when I look at each one of you, I'm seeing 1,000 suns, bright and loving. But then the mind comes down and covers it like a black cloak of night. And therefore it takes your light and reduces it down. And every time you create an obstruction, whether it's thoughts, whether it's desires, whether it's foods, and you obstruct the flow of consciousness or energy, then you're going to have dis-ease, you're going to have separation, you're going to have fear, anxiety, all these factors. So on one hand, getting the cells of the body healthy has a residual kick back to the etheric bodies of the emotions and of the mind. On the other hand, absorbing into God, becoming strong with the God force, comes the other way. So both ways come together and make for a very powerful sense of wellness. And so it's a good thing to travel down that road. And this is why living in the now, it's hard for people to understand that as soon as you engage your mind, you're engaging creation. And that is all conditioned. And so we have the propaganda. We have tons of health books that tout different opinions and ideas. Chemistry, a lot of theories. We have so much going on. What is truth? And this is an area is not where you find truth. You are the doorway to truth, not the drama. The drama has nothing to do with the truth except that it emulates your consciousness. But truth is you. You are the living truth. And I think almost every spiritual being has said that. And I think each of you must realize that. And the best way to realize that is to let go, just like in your diet. You know, set all this to a side and put your feet on a new journey, a journey of excitement, a journey of ecstasy and joy. No words can describe it. Security, wellness, health, vitality, endless amount of energy, endless amount of love. So I think it's important that this planet lift itself up to these higher realms. And it is simple if you realize that all you have to do is just live in the moment and become the observer of life instead of the planner and the thinker. You know, instead of creating a new patent place or all my children. Oh, do I know about soap operas? No, I don't watch them. But all these things is the drama. But the player, that's what's important to me, and that's you. You are the player. And if you can get your game online and you get yourself just right, it's an incredible experience. So I hope you all work through wellness. I want to cover some questions here. I'm getting caught up. So definitely, if I have missed questions here that have not answered your questions, I'm pretty caught up. So please resubmit them one more time, and I think I can get a pretty good handle on them. That I'm pretty, like I said, pretty well caught up. We'll go through a few cases here. And outside of that, then we'll be doing pretty good. And it's always a blessing and a pleasure to be with each and every one of you. And I want you to know I'm right beside you with my arms around you as we're on this journey. Important journey, guys. Too many suffering people. Like this morning, I'm talking to this young girl suffering. She's been 2 months on the program, hasn't felt any changes. And it's sad to see the young people at the level that they are. We're the only ones that are going to have a clue to the depth of this and what we need to do to fix it. So we need to become one strong group, and I think we're doing that. And I'm watching you guys, and you guys are now shifting and helping each other. You're working out your individualities, and you're working your gig out. And I love that. And yes, everybody has rough edges, okay. And then we just learn to smooth our edges off. We pick up things, we let go of things. But if you've noticed, our sight has calmed down and a much more serious focus. And I really love that. You guys, I'm just real proud of each and every one of you. And we want to end the suffering. And we can do that. We can do that. Now, I've had this a while. I've seen it up here, and Paul, I think this is a Paul, where's Paul here from? West Virginia, Paul. Pain of a swollen jaw and stuff, and I'm sorry that this is set here for so long here. New oral surgeon who says the diagnosis of osteomyelitis is incorrect and that my problem could be caused by juvenile arthritis or fibromyalgia. I don't know what, Paul, you're saying here, but anything like you got floaters in the eyes. So, and anytime you feel like you have an arthritis or you have a fibromyalgia or a lupus or a Lyme's, remember how simple it is to understand this cause. And that is that the body's a bunch of cells. Two fluids take care of those cells, one being blood, one being lymph. There's only two sides to chemistry. It's easy to understand that if you understand one side's the females and one side's the males. It's easy to start understanding the body in those simple ways. And then how those energetics of the male or acid chemistry affects the body, as well as how does base chemistry affect the body. Why is this a base chemistry planet? Why is base chemistry essential to the blood? Why is base chemistry the dominant chemistry on the planet? Alkaline, in other words. Base is alkaline chemistry. And it is because of the aggressiveness and corrosiveness of the acid side. That's quite obvious. Mars, I believe, is an acid planet. You can't go there. You can't live there. So it'd be interesting to see if Mars is an acidic environment. I'm not sure of that. But if it's true, the new little mobile that landed on there, how well it can take the atmosphere. And again, it might not be. But these atmospheres that are acidic, no life in terms of what you know it could live on it. You've got some bacterias and stuff. Be interesting to see the creatures that could dwell in an acidic medium. You see them in the ocean now, deep down in the lower areas where the volcanoes and all that activity is. You see those little red things, those tubes and stuff. Those are pretty cool. Living in a highly sulfuric level and proliferating in a highly acidic medium. Interesting. You know, just very interesting. Be interesting to see the makeup of the tissue of that, those tubes, and to see how they buffer such a high acid environment. because very few things can take that level of corrosiveness. So when you feel pain, stiffness, tightness, and you know what's been on the agenda today, and I might go over this with you. I've had both cases today of nausea. One case is an MS case, and he's got a lot going up here. Whenever he puts anything in his stomach, immediately he feels nausea. It doesn't matter, fruits or anything. Now that can be hepatic or liver gallbladder. Could be pancreatic, doubt it. Could be stomach, but we found the problem more here, up in the cerebellum. And this is exactly where MS has issues. MS always has adrenals. MS always has the kidneys, always has the lymph, because we know this is how you get brain lesions. But it also always has the parasympathetic cerebellum. Always your equilibrium vertigo center. This can make you nauseated. This can make your blood pressure flip. Nausea can also come from the hepatic area, which is the liver gallbladder area. Definitely. So those are some of the areas you want to clean up. And you'll always remember this area can lead to nausea, dizziness, all kinds of problems. Lightheadedness, that's the cerebellum back here. And always a problem in MS, always. And so is the adrenals and kidneys, always. Now, that's the culmination of these symptoms is the diagnosis of MS. Now, Paul sent me some blood work. So I'm looking at the chemistry here. Everything looks pretty good, Paul. Your creatinine is 0.8, which I think is a little higher than it should be. I consider 0.3, 0.4, which a good lab, that'll be low-end normal. You always want low-end normal, especially when you're dealing in creatine, bun, that's proteins. You're going to be a vegetarian. You're not going to have high proteins coming out of the kidneys, and you don't want that, despite what they think. And again, the stats on healthy raw foodists are going to be somewhat different than not. And medical has to get with that, because most of these stats are based upon unhealthy people. And you see that, what I see it when they play with the stats. And a good example was PSAs. PSAs are prostate, and they used to be 0 to 3, and now they moved it to 0 to 4. Wouldn't you go the other way? Why wouldn't you go the other way? If you had any clue to what's going on in health with people, you wouldn't go up, you'd be going down, because more people are having prostate cancer, more males, of course, are having prostate cancer much earlier and a much lower number. And a good example is I've had a 45-year-old male in here, prostate cancer, PSAs of 2. So it shows you that we're seeing weaker prostates, and therefore cells can convert earlier than later. Some of these old guys that have real strong cells, they can take PSAs up to 20. I've seen a man at the American Cancer Society, PSAs of 20, had it for 20 years and couldn't find any cancer cells. That's pretty good, extremely rare. You're going to see cancer at 10 probably. Let's see, glucose is 94, everything looks good, calcium, everything there, liver enzymes, Paul, looks good, your A1C, 5.1, hematology, good whites, reds, hemoglobin, hematocrit, so platelets are 166. If anything, these platelets are a tad bit low. White blood cells, they could be higher, but certainly within normal ranges, whatever that means. Platelet count for me, it's okay, but I'm going to put it on, and it's within normal ranges. So, just clean out your spleen, build up your bone marrow, clean your body up. It's no question. Here, however, when I brought up the idea of acids being the cause of inflammation, he quickly dismissed the notion using medical jargon, given the early awakening, the length of time in the waiting room. You know what? That's the problem. They're full of jargon. They're full of crap. They're trying to express an immune response, which is just what the body does. Your body is going to have an immune response to acids, proteins. Medical doctors, wake up. I mean, I just find them anymore. I almost get nauseated when we say medical, because it's just a continuing disgrace of consciousness in the medical profession. I'm sorry. It's just a disgrace, and that has to be changed. There's only two sides of chemistry, Mr. Medical Doctor. Pick one. So it is sad that is. So Paul, you have to get outside the box and think. We're going to leave the medical profession behind and need to. So go on with your life and get your lymph system detoxed, Paul, because that's lymphatics, I can tell you. But here's a good example. Here's a man suffering with pain and things. He's got a list of problems here. He's only, let me see, he's 28 years old is all he is. He only can open his mouth about 1 to 1.5 inch on his best day because he's got frozen jaw and everything. Osteomyelitis, and this is all acidosis. I don't know, these medical, I don't know what they think. They must be taught some kind of language from far beyond, because it isn't a language for planet Earth. Quite simply, you have a lymph problem all in here, and if you feel under your jaw, you're going to feel your lymph nodes, Paul. And this is all the lymph here. It has to drain down through here. You got to, I'd massage this sternum and stuff. You could do some thymus thumping or take a little thymus glandular to pop up your thymus gland. Really be helpful for you probably. But until you get these acids out, you're not going to stop the decay of your bone or teeth. You get these acids out, and we have x-rays where we've totally regrown jaws from half of it being removed for cancer. So it's cool to see the body regenerate itself. But I don't see anything here that it just gives me an indication that your kidneys are too low. When you get 0.8 in your kidneys, for me, you're full of inflammation in the kidneys. You're going down trouble road, and this explains why you have all the other problems lymphatically. But the point is, here's a pretty blood work. Here's pretty blood work. But the guy's suffering. So what's the problem? If I'm a medical doctor and I go by his blood work, hey, there's nothing wrong with you. That pain must be in your head. That's the kind of crap you hear all the time. And that's just what it is. Crap. Thank you. This is King Colleen 13. Thank you, sweetheart, for your input there. She received brain and nerve recently, and I'm sleeping like a baby. Good deal. Good job, sweetheart, and thanks for the positive comments. I like to keep things positive. Not everything is always fun, and not everything is always, people are going to go through their pains and ups and downs, and I have nothing but respect and serious regard for all of you in that process, let me tell you. I think you get a good sense of who I am by now. This is Raina. Do I have that right? Raina? Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. You're welcome, sweetheart. I'm a 33-year-old female who has been eating raw for the past few months. I am very happy with the way I feel so far. I'm very interested in your work and would love to know the best route to gain the knowledge and obtain the license to practice. My background is in biology, physiology. He's got a BS in that, and a clinical embryology, a master. Ooh, that'd be nice. I like that. You got a good background, honey. Your advice would be greatly helpful. Well, I'll say this, and I've talked to a lot of people about where do you go from here. And quite frankly, most modalities right now are suffering because none of them are focusing on truth and reality. And that's just the plain simple truth. Look at naturopathy. Naturopathic medicine, I'll have to use that word because there are some of us that are true naturopathists, and there's still some out there. But by and large, the bulk of the people that were trained with Bastyr, Southwest, and even Clayton kind of slipped back to the medical thoughts of treatment-based thinking. We must, as a society, leave that world. Like we cannot have no more presidents and vice presidents. You can't have dictators like this. Every president now thinks he's a dictator. They're pulling the executive orders. They think they can do anything. They can cram stuff down people's throat and stuff, and we just can't have that anymore. We can't have a place where we can breed tyrants and things. You can't do it. Dictators and stuff. And we in this country have the same problem. So we have to develop new ways on this planet for people to get along and love each other and people to breed that. See, our president here in this country should be breeding love, respect, and freedom. That's our country's basic founding. But we've got away from love because if you don't have spirituality behind consciousness, then capitalism can ruin you. And it has ruined a lot of people. And it's taken us away from the love band, and it's all about the money. I see people sell their kids for money now. People sell their moms for money. I mean, it's just a bad state to be in. So definitely need some good spirituality here, and you guys are going to give this planet a huge dose of it. As each one of you connect to God and become channels, that brings more love to this planet, and we'll make this planet one big love sponge, like my little Coco the dog. I'll say this. I think so you've got a pretty good background, and you have one in my favorite. You got some in biology and stuff. I would definitely pick up some botany and then go ahead and get into some, take a few herbal degrees and become an herbalist. That's to me the future. Raw foods and herbs are the two golden keys and the two basic tools we have to get well. We have glandulars for a while, but if we can just find the right herbs to power up. But this is the problem. When we have such chronic glandular problems, difficult with the herbs, you're going to set in and be 4 or 5 months longer easy without the glandulars. Understand the reasons though, and don't, respect everybody's individuality on that. Naturopathy is right now disgusting to me. I have some good friends that are osteopaths, and several years ago we wanted to start a school. We do have the Benedict Lust stuff, the old American Naturopathic Association, the original association. I was a member of it for years. We need to bring that back. But I think better is we need to create a whole new school and a whole new train of thought, don't we? So we need to come up with a name of what we're doing, because it's a cross between, it is naturopathy and herbology slapped together with a twist. We got rid of the concept of diseases, which naturopathy really never had. Naturopathy doesn't hold with the concept of diseases, and I've never held with that. It's ridiculous. It's just a power control mechanism, to be honest with you. Just like this gentleman Paul just said, some guy was talking way over his head, trying to show the mechanisms of inflammation, but he's still not understanding what initiates the mechanism of inflammation, because inflammation is definitely an immune response. To what, Mr. Medical Doctor? To what? Bacteria? That's as stupid thinking as you get. Rare does your immune system go after your bacteria, because it lives in harmony with them. And the reason is bacteria is part of the sewer department that breaks down acids. You don't hit the kidneys with a 3 pH acid that the cells are discharging. You don't do that. So there's a lymph node between the cell and the kidney to take care of that problem, and that lymph node is full of what? Bacteria. And bacteria help to break down acids. Thank you guys. Appreciate it, because I don't want those to hit my kidneys. I love you guys. What else is the lymph nodes full of? Macrophages. How come macrophages aren't in interstitial fluid? Interesting, isn't it? When you see the decay of tissue, you wonder about that. That's not from macrophages. It's from acids. Cells are not broken down till they hit the what? Lymph nodes. That's why you see cancer cells or damaged cells taken to lymph nodes. Now you've got the macrophages. Now you have phagocytosis. Now you have the breakdown of the cell. Blah, 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 blah. Simple, easy, nice, and easy to understand. Going too deep, you lose reality. So, honey, I would keep it simple. You've got enough beautiful background here, a master's in embryology, how good that is. And look at iridology and how we Jensen wrapped the embryo around the eye. So you've got some good stuff. You just need to learn what we're doing here. Learn about the herbs. Detoxification is an art. We're going to do level 2 next April. And I was just talking to Shannon. This September, we've got, what, 2 weeks left. Then this is going to be our last number 1 for a year. Our number 1 level will come back next October, the first week in October. The second week in April is going to be level 2. Now, level 2 is going to be a ton of clinicals. We are going to run you guys through clinicals and understand what we do in these cases, because it's essential. So it's going to be a little bit different of a class. It's not going to be about lecturing. It's going to be about interactions and how we deal with cases, because they're just, and that's what the bottom line is. Anyway, once you get the knowledge, which isn't difficult, right? You guys already get it. From what I see, next, come on. Anybody can get this. But It's about how you use it on real people and how you work them through their problems, because some people have very serious and deep chronic problems. They're not going to be well real quick, and they have to understand that. That's why it's important that we educate and we bring them in the fold, and they get the YouTube videos. These videos are so important, I think, for humans to get with, so they understand they have a remedy. They don't have to give up anymore. You have a remedy. It might take you some work to get it, but there's a remedy. Before, there's no remedy in allopathy. There's no remedy for high blood pressure. There's no remedy for cold and flus. There's no... Wait a minute. There's no remedy for anything. Surgery. So, good. Raina, I like your credentials. Good job. This is vertical sleep. I love that name too, vertical sleep. You guys come up with some interesting things. I had a face cancer case once that it was vertical sleep upside down. The only way he could get out of pain was standing on his head in the corner. And this was a medical doctor, took out his lymph nodes. We got him cleaned up from that. We got his whole jaw to grow back, and we have x-rays to show that. But then there was this little hard knot left after we cleaned him up. Had a great life. He was doing good, happy. Everything was good. He could have lived there. He had had 20, 30 years, 40 years to his life. But this medical doctor just had to know if there was any cancer cells in that hard knot. And I said, there probably is, but who cares? They're locked away. They will disintegrate. Who cares? Oh, no, we just have to try. So my client broke down and let him biopsy it. Well, there was scar tissue there from the previous surgery, and poke, 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 poke. I couldn't save him after that. He totally went 180. He just totally went the other way, and boy, it was a nightmare from hell. I told him I would have shot him, but I would have went to jail probably. It's how bad he suffered, and I thought, you know, karma. Not good. Not good. So make sure that when a medical doctor wants to take out a lymph node, you raise your hand and say, no way. Because you had better use a black salve or something on them. Don't worry, we'll go after the FDA for them blocking black salve and blood root. Don't worry. We're putting up a pretty good lawsuit against them as we speak. This is crap. We're not going to stand for this deception that the FDA has put forth. I mean, there's a list of criminal activities they are involved in that's so long it's not even funny. And we're getting evidence, building evidence every day against them, and have been, because of the medical profession and what has been going on with pharmaceuticals. The government's got to pay some prices here, guys. Don't feel bad. And not from a lack of spirituality or spirituality. There's an action and reaction here, and the action is hurting a lot of people. And we have to change that. We're a higher species. We have to start acting that. Sometimes the lymph nodes in my right groin swell up pretty bad. I've been detoxing for many months, and it only happens once in a while. Sometimes it swells so bad that it hurts, and sometimes it comes with UTI symptoms. Wow, that's a lot of lymph heading toward the kidneys, and that's what you're feeling. That's lymphs coming toward the kidneys. They're going to hit the nodes first, and then they're going to go to the kidneys. So your nodes are going to swell, so you have a restricted flow through the kidneys. That's what that says. Well, that's obvious, because that's what we've been talking about, is most people have lost their filtration from the kidneys, however you wish to describe that. And so that's when you see the clear urine. As you begin to get filtration through the kidneys, that urine gets cloudy, you start to see less and less of that lymph node swelling and going down. When your lymph node swells and doesn't go down, that means your kidney totally isn't filtering. So you can see all those problems. And the proof of the kidneys is when we get them filtering, guess what goes down? The lymph nodes. And guess what? If there's a tumor on the other side, guess what happens to that tumor? It goes away too. So you see how it's easy to understand the issues. but it is not so easy to follow the path. A high fruitarian path is difficult. There's no question. And it's not that I'm advocating a fruitarian lifestyle, but you need it to get up out of a wheelchair. You need it to get tumors out of you. You need it to regenerate the high level of brain tissue function of Homo sapiens. You need these high levels to get deeper tissue detoxification. If you claim that you can get deep tissue detoxification with vegetables, I beg to differ. And I think this is exactly why a lot of iridologists do not see iris changes. But the funny part about that, Jensen used to see iris changes himself. And he wasn't a vitalist. He wasn't a raw foodist. How interesting. He ate better, sucked down a lot of supplements. So that's why you felt the UTI symptoms. The more restricted ability that or inability your kidneys have to filter lymphatically, the more you feel that lymphatic. And that's what a UTI, high acids. And this would be also true if the lymph nodes, you took a lot of sulfa drugs and you had very low bacterial activity in the body, you could have a very painful urine, burning urine, because bacteria hasn't had a chance to break down these acids yet. And that's so important that the body have these bacteriums. We get this whole thing, we're so involved in killing pathogens, and we blame bacteria and fungus on all these things. We just have to understand the reason they exist in creation. When you understand why God created different things in creation as it did, then you start to see why and their role. And man has this distinct immature mind that says, if I don't understand the role, it must be bad. I usually just ignore it and increase the kidney herbs, which is smart thinking, by the way, vertical sleep. Smart thinking. And this is the smartness that you guys have, and I like that. When you find that the kidneys aren't filtering, and you know that from the nodes, you increase your kidney formulas. Smart, like that vertical sleep. And the other thing is, think about the adrenals, because they turn on the kidneys. So think about that connection too, and then work on those adrenals with that. And as you get the adrenals up and the kidneys filtering, then you won't have that swelling like you do there. What do you think is happening? Just what you think. Just what you think. You guys are getting in line with my thinking, and I'm in line with your thinking, and we are healing some people up. I just want you all to be proud of what you're doing. Now this is open hand, not blue hand or Pythagorean, is it? Are you a blue hand member of the Pythagorean order? Oh, open hand. Hiya, Robert. Well, hiya, open hand. I am 50-year-old male, 133 pounds, who has been taking insulin for the past 29 years. Well, I bet your beta cells are real happy right now. They're probably wondering what insulin really is. Let's see, I have been very successful in that I am taking a small fraction of what I used to take. Good man. Formerly, I took 50 units of Norvorapid quick-acting insulin per day. Now I take only 5 to 10. That's a pretty good drop. Never over 10 units. That's pretty good. So are you around 200, 210, 20, somewhere in that range? I know we generally don't give 10 units when you're or any units of insulin when you're under 200. Over 200 in our local hospitals, we might give you 5 to 10 units. But for the past 25 years, I have been a lacto, vegan vegetarian. Cheese, eggs, no meat, fish, or anything with a face. For the past year, I have been eating a 50-50 raw food diet using milk only. For the past month, I have been mainly... Let's see how you're doing better. You're getting better. Anyway, open hand. Juicing. So for the last month, he's been mainly green juicing, eating avocados, nuts, nut milk, soups with green vegetables, chilies, and ginger. I also take the following supplements: 3 to 4 liters of green juice per day with the following amounts of supplements 3 times per day. 1 Desert Spoon, Superfood, Richard Schultz. No. Richard Schultz. Now, he does have glass finally, Richard. You got your glass. This is the old one, but you had this up till recently. And then mine. Read the ingredients. Richard Schultz has got spirulina, blue-green algae, chlorella, barley grass, alfalfa grass, wheatgrass, purple adult seaweed, beetroot, spinach root. Now, I like all those, rose hips, orange and lemon. This is good. In a base of non-fermentable yeast. I muscle test people on his all the time, and they always test weak. Now, what do we have? Oh, 25 superfoods. Everything in the kitchen sink. I like that. But I like Richard. I think that Richard, if he would break away from Christopher, could probably put together some kick-butt formulas. Right now they're just intense, but they're Christopher, so I don't like the herbal combinations. We can go, Richard knows he could go way out there with his own. I don't know why he never created his own line. This is Ireland. Do you know Margie? Dr. Margie in Ireland. Let me see now. For the past month. So he's taking Richard Schultz blend, 3 capsules of Vitazyme, proteolytic enzymes, 1 desert spoon, essential 7, 1 teaspoon of maca powder. Separately, I take 1 teaspoon of E3 live enzyme and 1 teaspoon of mushrooms, chaga mushrooms. I also take at least 1 shot of wheatgrass every day. Okay. 2 weeks ago, I did a major liver cleanse. First 5 days of 800 milligrams of malic acid twice per day. 6-day fasted from 2 p.m. 6 p.m. Took 1 pint of water and desert teaspoon of Epsom salt. Repeated at 8 to 10, 250 milliliters of olive oil and juice of 2 grapefruits. Next day at 6 a.m. repeated Epsom salt dose, and again at 8. You know what? You don't have to do a liver flush quite that intense. Blah, 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 blah. It had a bad effect on me, knocking me off course. I have had at least 8 colonic irrigation sessions over the past 8 weeks. Well, there's some of this that's gone, so I couldn't read it to you because I have 1 paragraph that's gone. I tell you what, I don't overly do liver flushes because I think it's important to spend 2 or 3 months cleaning your body out before you do a liver flush, even though a lot of the stones will already be dissolved and coming out. Some people have rather large stones, and I've only seen 1 case where the lady had one that couldn't come out, and but most of them they come out pretty sure. But you know, to make it easier on yourself, and I don't know where you're getting all your stuff, but I'll tell you, there's a lot easier liver flush at 800 milligrams of malic acid. You got to be careful when you're taking acids, and that includes. Oh, you ready to do the Skype? That includes ascorbic acid. Remember, antagonistic to calcium. And this is a big problem. So you did too much around it. The Epsom salts, you have to be careful with Epsom salts too. You have to be real careful with that. There was something I was reading the other day. I couldn't believe it. So you have to be careful with that. Don't need it. You can flush the liver. But remember, when you're flushing, you're spasming. And sometimes, if your liver isn't real healthy, you have a hard time pulling back out of that. So just stay on the raw, get up on the fruits, man. Keep flushing that liver. Take the liver gallbladder for me. Just clean out that liver, and you'll be good. I think what you're on is not very effective in moving lymph or anything like that at all, man. Open hand. The superfood blend, I don't care, but I'd get one without yeast in it. And I'm really not a fan of blue greens, especially if you're detoxifying. If you're not detoxifying, I don't care. If you want to eat the blue-green algae, go ahead. Palm scum is always good on a hot day. But with that said, again, be careful, because what we're doing out there is using supplements to treat problems. And that's not good. And giving yourself digestive enzymes is not smart. I don't care what they say. Some people try to hide that and call them plant enzymes and everything else. But I'm just enough to tell you that there's plenty of pancreatic problems right now from that use, from the use of digestive enzymes. It is a bad idea. You only use it in times where you mixed your foods wrong, or you screwed up and had a bad meal, and so okay, I'll pay for it, and you help yourself with digestive enzymes. But you've got to be careful with them, because again, the pancreas is an endocrine gland. It's also an exocrine gland, but it's also an endocrine gland. And so I don't like any way you did your liver flush, and no wonder you didn't feel good, man. What is your opinion on colonic irrigations as a cleansing treatment? Low. It's good, and I think every hospital should have a colonic machine, a colon therapist there. I think everybody should get cleaned out that way in the ER. I think that if you've had 1 or 2 or 3, okay, but water washing the colon is, is okay. But the herbs and the food will super clean, will pull through the wall. There's just so much more you can do with herbs and chemistry than you can do with water. Just a lot more. But I am for colon hide, don't get me wrong. Vital part of getting well for a lot of people. On everyone's advice, I was warned off of fruit, none whatsoever, so you can only imagine my delight 2 weeks ago on hearing your show, YouTube Diabetes, Blood Sugar Issues, The Remedy Part 1 and 2. For the first time, I was fascinated about what you had to say on eating fruit. Hell yeah, simple sugars. But if you're type 2 and it's the adrenals, any sugar is going to cause you problems. You just can't worry about it. You guys got to get into those adrenal glands, and you're taking nothing for that. And you got to do that. What are you, open hand? You've got to realize that. Type 1, fruits are going to be your best bet. Fruits are going to always be your best bet. Now, you might glucose load for 2 or 3 days, but after that, especially after a week, your blood sugars will come right down. And you'll see the difference when you introduce glucose to the body as opposed to fructose. And I can just tell you, we've witnessed hundreds, if not thousands, of type 1s that we've worked on through the years. And this is what we see in almost every case. There's your brittles, there's this, absolutely. But you still got to work yourself back to well, Bill. So the fruits are very, very important. And vegetables, especially with the type 2, both the glucose and the fructose are going to create, because this is a sugar metabolism problem, therefore it doesn't matter what sugar you have. Keep in mind, vital, because sugar's carbon, essential with oxygen to get your ATP. ATP, adenosine triphosphate, cell gasoline. But you need carbon and oxygen to get that gasoline. So that would be important for you to get onto that. Get on my adrenals. Again, if it's type 1, if you're a neurological type 1, then you got to get the adrenal glands anyway. And you got to go after the adrenal glands no matter what. There's just no one with good healthy adrenals. And if there is, somebody ought to give them $1 million and put them in a museum. As I am still taking a small amount of insulin, from tomorrow I am going on a fruit-only diet. Good, I'd like to see how you're doing. Open hand, and I'm going to do a kidney cleanse. Smart thinking. On your colleague Jennifer's advice, I will take your adrenal, pancreatic, and kidney up. Smart thinking. What is your opinion on the supplementation I am taking? I don't think too much about it, man. I just don't, I don't like, of course I like the wheatgrass. I like alfalfa better, but, I have no problem with the mushrooms. But the digestive enzymes, not so much. The maca powder, obvious, not bad. But you have to be careful with some of that, too. Not overdo that type of stuff. The Essential 7, I don't know what that is. And, I'm pro my superfood blend over Richards, but I like a lot of them out there. Are some good green blends out there. And the more time goes on, you have a lot of people racing to put out the better green blends. So I would find a better one till Richard changes his up a little bit. As I have been green juicing for the past month, am I okay with juicing the fruit or better off eating? I think you're better off eating the fruit, to be honest with you, especially with a diabetic case. I think you really would be better chewing the fruit. I think you have to have some of that good fiber in the bowels, and I think it goes a long way. Chewing really initiates good peristalsis, so I think it's just all good to have some of that. Robert, name Ireland's 2 favorite days, Christmas Day and summer, huh? I will be over there. Margie wants me to come over there. I don't know if you know Margie. I have to get her last name, but her and her husband are both naturopaths. They're both healers. Really have it down there. And they've been trying to get me over there. So I'll be over to Ireland probably next year. It rains nearly every day. Yeah, I know. That's the problem, is that, and that's where we as a one should come together, and those countries that can grow the food for the world, they're going to have some good jobs, because we need those tropical and subtropical places need to start getting the greenhouses and everything in order. We got a lot of people to feed, and let's turn this around healthy. When the World Bank gets off their greedy thing, and maybe they need to come do some, anybody knows any World Bankers, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Warburgs, let's give them a colonic, clean them out, get them on raw foods, and we'll have a friend for life. It's okay for a Celt living on a small, windswept island in the North Atlantic to eat tropical fruit. Good question, though. Good question. Now, you might be a good Celt there, but I'll say that you're really a tropical Celt living in a northern environment. So yeah, it's going to pull you more to the vegetables, more to the warm soups and stuff. Okay, do the best you can, in the environment that you're in. But to detox deeper, you still need the fruit if you're living in Moose Jaw. So it doesn't really matter where you live, but the influence of the environment is obvious. And so you just do the best you can, man. Just do the best you can. Take a little trip down to Costa Rica or something. Or be over there with my friend Yaz in Thailand. Somebody stuck a big watermelon in the freezer back there, and if they don't get it tonight, it's gone. I'm going to grab that thing. So I was just thinking of you, Yaz, in Thailand, and thinking of the food you're eating, and it just, the only time my sugars are high is first thing in the morning on waking. Well, that would be normal, I think. The rest of the day, perfect day and perfect. I wouldn't even worry about it at a certain point. Just keep going after your health issues. Just keep going, make everything healthy. And then pretty soon you'll turn around and everything's normal. So I think it's a good idea, and I just wouldn't get upset with the blood sugar, especially if you're below 200 range. Let your adrenals work better, and pull yourself down into the 90s and low hundreds again. And if you're in the hundreds, I'd rethink any insulin, because you're going to have to train your beta cells to give you insulin now, because you've been on it so long, your beta cells probably don't know how to produce it. Now, I could be wrong, and I hope the heck I am with that, and that you'll have nice insulin on your own. If not, we need to get into that pancreas and get those beta cells thinking up there. If the body's making this sugar overnight, it's not making sugar overnight. A lot of things can raise blood sugars. A lot of different things in the body. It doesn't just have to be, the fact you ingested it. There's a lot of waxing and waning of chemistry through the night. The breakdown of fats, you're not consuming sugars, so the breakdown of glycogen to fats, into sugar is strong. So at night and morning, how you feel thinner and everything, because fat has been worked on through the night. So that's when your ketones could be a little higher, and of course that's where your blood sugar could be a little higher. But it's just the body's effort to get ATP. Because ATP is gasoline. It's a battery. It's a power for the cell. You lose the power to the cell, guess what you lose? The cell. So carbon and oxygen is essential. So sugars are essential, far more than fats or amino acids. They are essential. You don't get them, you're not on the planet. What is your opinion on eating onion bread? Ingredients: sunflower seeds, flax seeds, tamari, olive oil, and onions. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Nuts, fruit, and kale crisps done in a dehydrator. Get rid of the nuts. All I can say is get rid of the nuts, especially, my friend, this is Terrence. And Terrence, for blood sugar, get rid of the nuts. Believe it or not. This is Heather. She's 49 years old. She lives in Utah. Don't we have some Utah friends out there, especially moving to Utah? I haven't heard from her in a while, especially on the honey, which I just had a whole bunch of that honey the other day. And the friend that ate it with me went, wow. I am a newbie to your videos. I'm learning so much. Thank you, dear one, for joining us, Heather. I have been filling out your health questionnaire. I'm waiting for my directions from Roger. I was wondering if you could answer a couple questions. Sure, be happy to. Now, is there something, number one, is there something that I can do for eye floaters? I would get the eye wash and start washing my eyes out, because hopefully these floaters are just lymphatics, meaning your lymph fluids. And that's a sign, though, that your lymph system's a little backed up in the head. Do you have sinus problems and stuff like this? It generally comes with it. But anyway, this is just mucus. Now, where you have detached retinas, things like this can have a little more problems to them. So I would do the eye wash topically. You can take it internally at the same time. Clean up your bowels, get your kidneys filtering, get your adrenals on, and clean this head out. If you have to candle your ears and things like that, just to help clean everything up. It's a good idea. We're just going in and cleaning up the house and then repairing anything that's been damaged. Is that simple? I think that's beautiful. And it's as simple as that as it needs to get, because most of us don't care about intellectualism anymore. Been there, done it, you know. And those that haven't done it, thank God, because you can get trapped. Trapped me a lot. I have accumulated several over the years, and now they are getting in the way of my vision. Definitely use the eye wash and open that up. The eye wash promotes blood and lymph flow in the eye. My neck, shoulders, and neck ache all the time. Right here you are, sweetheart. There's your connecting link. My neck, shoulders, ache all the time, interrupting my sleep. Yeah, this is lymph. Lymph. This is the way we go to Lymphville. Well, that's why the floaters. So you really, this is kidney weakness, honey. Kidney and adrenals. You really got to get that door opened and drain this, or everything starts breaking down. C spines, T spines, L spines. You start twisting the spine. All kinds of things can go in this way, and you want to get out of that. And then, of course, you get the cataracts from the cholesterol from the lymph, and then the glycemic pressures coming and blah, 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 on and on and on. So we don't want you to go down that road, honey. My husband's hands are always falling asleep and numb. Now, again, same type of problem. When you get pressure in your stiff neck and stiff shoulders, you can actually, depends how you lay your arm, but it can get numb on you. Your fingers get numb. Pressure and swelling is part of acidosis and lymph stagnation, and that will impact on nerves and make you feel numb for sure. You might check the spine with a chiropractor to make sure you don't need a little tweaking, but outside of that, the only reason you get numbness here besides the spine is the lymph. It can start at the elbow, the wrist, but generally is the back of the neck, especially if you see it in both sides. If you see it in one side, just go up in there and dig in his tissue up here and see how hard it is, and work that around the neck. Maybe we'll do some videos and I'll show you how to work this loose a little bit up here around the neck, but it all goes right down to the kidneys at L4 and L5, mid-back, mid to lower back. So it's important for both of you to get your lymph system, your kidneys filtering, and all that. My husband's had a cold in January, and his ears are still plugged. Doctor said there isn't any inflammation or infection. Yeah. But there is lymph. And that goes right back to why his hands are going numb. Goes right back to the shoulder there. And, of course, what's going on here? Obstructions, claudifications. It's all lymph there, and that gives you a good example of what's going on. Husband, ear candle your ears, 3 per ear. Let your wife take that congestion out of that. Clean up your bowels so your sinuses and everything can drain. Get your adrenals up. Get all that cleaned up, and all this will come out of here, and you have a life. What we're finding nowadays is that people are so backed up that pressure, not just your glycemic pressure, but cerebral pressure. Pressure against the skull, the swelling, the acidosis, the lymphodemas, especially without the tonsils. But it's happening. How many people are getting their parotids removed? I mean, it's just a mess. And thank God we have all you guys helping everybody. I'm just blessed to see that and real happy to do that. So you both have to move your lymphs, real importantly, because what you've asked me are all lymphatic questions here, sweetheart, and you just got to get that, get both of your kidneys and adrenals going and get this numbness out, because this lymph will sit there and break down the spine. You'll start getting bone spurs on the spine. You know, it just goes on and on and on. Okay, and you get compressions or whatever. So thanks, Heather. Good questions for yourself. Hope Roger takes care of you. If Roger doesn't take care of you, you let me know, because there's going to be some booty to kick. This is about Ross syndrome. I think I addressed Ross syndrome before. If I didn't, please call me back, Rebecca, but I think I addressed your Ross syndrome here before. I do have that down here. I did talk about the dryness of the eyes and no sweating and stuff like that before, so I'll see. This one is a question. These are older questions, but someone asked about pH tablets. And this is like the lady that sent me the information, I think it was a female, information on the calcium phosphorus relationships of fruits. But you see how that's, you can carry that and carry these type of things to endless things. And when you get into chemistry, I don't like chemical arguments because none of them hold any water. They really don't. It's actual participation in the food chain and herbs, and see how all that affects tissue and why and things like that. So I don't know where there's an accurate chart. I know the Minnesota School of Dentistry. I've mentioned this before. You might contact the Minnesota School of Dentistry. I know they had sent me a couple pHs on Gatorade and stuff, so I do believe they're really looking at that. So I'd contact them. I'd be interested myself. I've been wanting to contact them, just been too busy. So we'll see. Now, this is 32 arms. Oh, what's he smoking there, man? Herbs. This is about herbs. Can I take something for a hyperthyroid to put some weight on me? Now, I felt this was a real important question. No. Do not. Because hyperthyroid, you got to correct that problem. Correcting hyper cases is easier than correcting hypo cases. Hyperactivity of a tissue can be spawned by simple acidosis, different chemicals like iodine in the thyroid, or you know, that's about the two main things, really. Going back, though, to the thyroid, if you go a little further up, you can actually have stimulation of the pituitary from the same reasons, then reflecting back and overstimulating the pituitary. The other place you could have problems is the gut, where you have a lot of spasticity, and that reflecting back up to the pituitary or the thyroid and having that reflex bound. That's why, believe this or not, this is why detoxification is a good answer for everything, because in all cases you must clean the body out of either tumors, acids, heavy metals, excitotoxins, neurotoxins. Proteins are the biggest culprit. All these things have to be cleaned out of the human body to be well. Anything that obstructs, suppresses, decays has to be eliminated. That's obvious. Or you can't stop that process. See, so that's why detoxification has always been the golden key. And man just has to wake up to this and realize all animals do it, and man must get to it and do it. Even though, and I would clean your bowels up really good, my friend, because you could be malabsorbed on top of being hyperthyroid. If I work out and eat well, I get to 63 kilos, 166, 26 years old. I work out, I yawn all the time, I get tired and feel tired. I was very athletic. Kidneys, adrenals, and that yawning all the time, the weakness of the nervous system, that yawning to get that nervous system back up. So, yeah, you've decayed your, or depleted your adrenals and kidneys, and if you did work out, you had to pump some protein, probably did a little bit of a number on your kidneys. So you just have to go back and fix these things. Thank God tissue can rebuild, and God didn't put us in Hellville without a key. In the past, I've taken from the herbalist an herbal tincture of echinacea, a chase tree, which is pituitary, nettle root, kidneys, Oregon grape, liver, calendula, milk thistle, and from time to time alternated with guta cola and skullcap. Love all of them. All those are great herbs. Love every one of them. Echinacea, you know, immune, but forget immune. This definitely a great lymphatic herb. Chase tree, pituitary, that's Vitex. Nettle, of course, we all know the old famous nettle for the kidneys and the like. Oregon grape, according to a medical doctor, I heard Oregon grape is toxic, bull crap. Oregon Grape is used the world over. Children take it. Pharmaceutical companies sell Oregon Grape root by itself in dosages. So that's, you know, it's just everybody's full of crap. Gotu-kola is one of my more favorite herbs. Skullcap and gotu-kola, I don't know which I love the best. Give me on a tropical island, giving me both. I think I would probably take gotu-kola over skullcap, but boy, you're talking about two of the finest neurological herbs on the planet almost, so I love them all. Dosage is 5 liters 3 times a day. I don't know how much that is. I'm a whole dropper full and a 2-ounce dropper full. I did that for the past 2 years with a consistent diet of barley grass in the morning and fruit until noon. I'll say this, I think we get more focused on kidneys, adrenals, and get focused with formulas. I really like the formulas better than individual herbs, and get focused with formulas. And I think when you go after the body in that way, and you're addressing the kidneys, the adrenals, and the bowels, and everything else, then everything is going to come around and everything's good. I can put on muscle easy, and then that's good, that you can put on muscle easy. I like that. And the iridologist says, I have hyperthyroid. Well, I don't know if I would trust an iridologist to diagnose hyperthyroidism. I'm not sure I would. No negative to the iridologist, but they would have to be very experienced. And a lot of the iridologists aren't experienced in that way. So I'd just like to, I'd be curious to see the diagnosis there. I grew up a chubby child in my teen years. I abused drugs, and stimulants was the main use. Could the stimulants, metacinophen, have caused a hyperthyroid problem and adrenal problems? Maybe. I do get cold hands easy. See, this is all hypothyroidism. If you had cold hands easy, that's not hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroid is you're hot. You're burning up. You're hot. Like women with hot flashes, you're hot. You know, that's thyroid's bouncing. And so this is suggested that you don't have hyperthyroid. It's suggested that you have hypo. The weight, again, could just be a raw food, some malabsorption. The fact that you're putting on muscle good definitely cuts that down to less, which I like. Is there any use of me taking bolus for that? I've considered myself in a slow detox state now for a few years. I do feel well, just those issues on my chiropractor says my misalignments point to kidney, sinus, and upper neck, 2nd and 5th cervical, hands and feet and elbows. Well, probably got a good chiropractor there. I'm probably in alignment with that. Adrenals, of course, is an issue here. So absolutely. Sinuses, yep. Everybody's got to drain those beppies. Do you know what my problems are? In a consistent state of detoxification, bad wear, if I slow it down by eating the other foods, I'll just slow me down more, or should I kick it up? Well, you're asking the guy that likes to kick it up. This is Aaron. My friend, I like to kick it up. I don't like to go slow too much. In my practice, you can't go slow. You have to kick it up, or you just... you know, there's too many things going on here. So remember, please, at this point, resubmit any questions. And I'm sorry I have to ask you this again, but if you have any questions from the past that have not gotten answered, please resubmit them. And I'm caught up pretty good where I think we can get a good hold of them. You guys are getting a lot more knowledgeable, and so everything is slowing down that way. We're getting better at what we do. I just love all you guys. Remember, be here in the now. And always love, be love. And when you meet someone, you're meeting God. You don't have to like the form, but you have to love the consciousness. That is all life. And so we're all God, playing out our little dramas and our roles in a soap opera called creation. So you have fun tonight and this week, and I'll talk to you as soon as I can. And I'm always with every one of you. Remember that. Whether you're riding in a car, you're sitting there suffering, I'm there trying to get these acids out of you. So I love you all, and you have a great fun afternoon. Thank you so much. Namaste, Baraka Bashad, and have fun. Be happy, too. Be happy.